Good morning. Start your day informed and ahead. Today is Tuesday, the 11th of August. I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro.
And I'm Nikki de Guzman, sitting in for Cheska Leton Calao. We are bringing you the perfect mix of the headlines you need and the conversations that shape your day.
From the news desk to the digital space, we have got you covered. I'm Pauline Verzosa, and welcome to Morning Matters.
First in the news, the southwest monsoon or habagat continues to affect Luzon today. Occasional rains are expected over Zambales, Bataan, and Occidental Mindoro, while Metro Manila and several other parts of Luzon may see scattered rains and thunderstorms. Pag-asa warns of possible flash floods or landslides during moderate to heavy rains. Meanwhile, Tropical Storm Pelu remains outside the Philippine area of responsibility. As of 3 a.m., it was more than 3,000 kilometers east of extreme northern Luzon. It is moving northeastward at 25 kilometers per hour.
All right, and joining us now to explain what we can expect is Pag-asa weather specialist Charmaine Varilla. Charmaine, okay, so gaganda na ba yung panahon natin?
Yes po, sa kasalukuyan sa nakikita po natin, bahagyang mababawasan yung mga pag-ulan pero mananatili pa rin na makulimlim yung ating kalangitan at matataas pa rin yung tsansa ng mga pag-ulan up until weekend. So currently, habagat pa rin po ang nakaka-apekto sa buong Luzon, including Metro Manila, at magdudulot nga yan ng mga pabugso-bugsong malalakas na mga pag-ulan dito pa rin sa Zambales, Bataan at Occidental Mindoro. Makulimlim at kalat-kalat din ang mga pag-ulan dito sa Calabarzon, Pangasinan, Benguet, Tarlac, Pampanga, Nueva Ecija, Bulacan, Marinduque, Romblon, Oriental Mindoro at Camarines Norte na dadalhin ng habagat. Sa nalalabing bahagi naman ng Luzon, unti-unti na ang gumaganda ang panahon pero andyan pa rin yung tsansa ng mga pulupulong mga pag-ulan. At sa magiging kalagayan ng ating karagatan, wala na tayong nakataas na gale warning kaya malamig maglalayag lahat ng sasakyang pandagat. Iba yung pag-iingat nga lang sa palayag dito sa may hilaga at kanlurang bahagi ng Luzon dahil maging katamtaman hanggang sa matataas sa mga pag-alon ngayong araw. Yan ang litas mula dito sa Pag-asa. Charmaine Varilla, nag-uulat.
Well, Charmaine, meron pa ba tayo mga iba pang weather systems na minomonitor today?
Currently po, si Bagyong Pelu ay nakalabas na nga ng ating Tropical Cyclone Information Domain kaya hindi na natin tinatrack masyado yung posisyon nito. Pero base sa ating Tropical Cyclone Threat Potential, posibleng may mamuo na low pressure area or currently mababa yung chance nito na maging bagyo sa within this week up until next week. So ito yung babantayan po natin kung mag-manifest sa ating mga monitoring satellite.
Charmaine, medyo maaraw na, no? Nakikita natin ulit yung araw. So, alam natin mababawasan yung ulan. Kamusta naman yung hangin? Ganun pa rin ba kalakas?
Yes po, nakikita pa rin natin na medyo may kalakasan pa rin yung hangin, pero unti-unti na rin po yung paghina niyan, and then pagsapit ng weekend, muli uling lalakas. So maganda pa rin po tayo sa mga biglaang pagbugso ng hangin, especially nga pagsapit nga nitong weekend.
Charmaine, gaano karami ba yung ibinuhos na ulan nitong habagat noong mga nakaraang araw?
Yes po, sa nakikita po natin, umabot po ng almost 500. So yung pinaka-specific po na bilang po na yung maabot ng mga 511.6 dito sa may part ng Metro Manila. So, ang normal po natin ay maabot ng 568.5. So, ibig po sabihin nito ay within August 1 to 9 lang ay almost umaabot na po tayo sa ating normal rainfall ng mga pag-ulan for a month.
Kasi sa Baguio, Charmaine, di ba, umabot daw ng mahigit 1,100 millimeters of rain. Yun ba ay maituturing unusual dahil mahigit isang buwan ng ulan yung inabot nila doon?
Yes po, tama po, napaka-unusual na dahil currently na bilang po natin from August 1 up until nung August 9 ay umabot na po dyan ng mga paulan ng 1,400. So almost more than a week lang pero naka-exceed na sila ng kanilang rainfall within a month.
Pero Charmaine, ang habagat natin ngayon ay hanggang kailan? Para mas klaro lang sa ating mga kapatid.
Yes po. So nakikita po natin, magpapatuloy pa rin po yung habagat po natin all throughout the month. Pero yung mga areas na makararanas ng malalakas na impacts ng habagat ay mostly pa rin dito sa Luzon and Western Visayas. And expected po natin, bahagyang hihina siya sa malaking bahagi ng Luzon sa mga succeeding days within this week. Pero maulan pa rin ang western section ng Central maging sa may Southern Luzon. Tapos uli-uli na naman niyang lalakas at maaaring umabot uli yung malalakas na mga pag-ulan sa malaking bahagi uli ng Central Luzon and western section ng Northern Luzon. Kasama din dyan yung malaking bahagi ng Southern Luzon.
And Charmaine, meron pa rin ba tayong mga warning na posibleng mga flash floods, landslides? Ano bang mga areas itong dapat bantayan pa rin?
Yes po, no, dahil currently nakataas pa rin po yung ating weather advisory, particularly na nga dito sa may bahagi ng Occidental Mindoro, maging dito sa may parts ng Zambales, Bataan, at Pangasinan, Benguet. So, may expect pa rin po tayo na meron pa rin tayong chances ng mga flooding and landslide kasi meron pa rin tayo nakikita ng mga significant rain, especially nga doon sa mga areas na to, as we mentioned, na meron ng currently na naganap ng mga flooding tsaka landslide.
Siguro hingi na lang po kami ng data po sa inyo, ng update doon po sa ating mga dams kung meron po kayo, kung ilang meters na po ang inangat nila.
Yes po, no? So nakikita po natin sa ating dam, yung binabantayan po natin na Angat Dam. So medyo umangat-angat naman po siya for the past 24 hour ng almost mga 5 meters. So medyo nakikitaan na po natin na medyo nakakabawi-bawi na yung mga dam po natin. Tapos dito naman po sa may bahagi ng lamesa, so medyo papalapit na rin po siya sa kanyang spilling level, no? So yung mga areas po na malapit-lapit dyan ay lalong-lalo na yung madalas bahain. Kasi nga, within dun sa dinadaanan ng tubig galing sa Lamesa Dam. So, maghanda na rin po ng mga possible flooding or kung pinapalikas na po kayo ng inyong mga LGU, ay sundin na po dahil medyo alarming na rin yung water level dito. And then, currently, may mga nakabukas na rin po tayo na gates dito sa may Ipo Dam, Ambuklao, and Pinga. So, yung mga areas po mostly dito sa Norzagaray, yung along sa dadaanan ng outflow ng tubig ng Ipo Dam. Tapos dito naman sa may part ng Pangasinan, which is yung dadaanan ng Buklang Binga, as well as sa may parts ng Cordillera. So, yun po.
Charmaine, base sa inyong forecast, ilang bagyo pa ba ang posibleng pumasok dito sa ating bansa para sa buwan ng Agosto?
So, sa nakikita po natin, no, posible pa, since nakadalawa na tayo, may Luis, tsaka may Maymay, so 0 to 2 tropical cyclones pa yung aantabayan na natin na posibleng mamuo sa loob ng ating PAR.
Alright, maraming salamat para sa mga update na yan. That was Pag-asa Weather Specialist, Charmaine Varilla. Now, meanwhile, garbage piled up in the river in front of Baclaran Church in Parañaque City after heavy habagat rains. And mobile journalist Francis Rivera now joins us on the ground with the latest. Francis, naku, kamusta ng sitwasyon dyan?
Ito naman ang ginagawa nilang clearing operation dito sa Baclaran, no, dito yun specifically malapit mismo sa Redemptor Station. At ito nga ay gumagamit na sila ng mga machine, no, sa paghakot ng mga basura. Katuwa nga dito yung Parañaque LCU kasama ang MMDA. So to give you an overview kung gaano kakalala yung nakikita natin basura dito. Ito, ikot ko lang yung camera natin. Ito yung mga nandito na sa daan kung saan ito yung mga nahakot na nila at ilalagay doon sa mga dump truck. At kita naman natin na halos marami rin yung mga truck na nandito kung saan nga i-dispose nila agad. At dito, kakit lang tayo ng konti. Ito meron tayong mga personnel dito from Parañaque LCU, itong mga sentro na halos sila mismo. Nakita na nga natin, nandun na sila mismo sa ilog na to. Ito yung tinatawag nilang Baclaran Channel. So, kita naman natin na halos tapuno ng basura itong dagat na ito, no? Itong part na to ng Manila Bay. At ayon nga kay MMDA General Manager General Torre, no? Yung iba kasi dito sa mga basurang ito, halo-halo na, no? Pagmulan sa Cavite, Las Piñas, at sa port ng mga nakakonekta dito sa Manila Bay. So nakikita nga natin, yan sa ating likuran, na halos talagang double time o sinasamahan na ng mga equipment, heavy equipment, at ng manpower para nga lang matanggal na yung mga basura dito. Pero based on sa observation din, ng Parañaque LGU, mukhang aabutin pang araw ng isang linggo bago talaga tuluyang mawala yung mga basura na naandito, na inanod, no? Dulot nga ng halos ilang araw tuloy na pag-uulan. Ulin?
Francis, tama ba na first time lang yan nangyari? First time lang na naipon yung ganyang karaming basura dyan malapit nga sa Baclaran Church?
Yes, Ulin, no? First time lang daw ito mangyari na talagang halos puno itong Baclaran Channel, no? Itong parte na ito, no? Kung saan nga kahapon nakita rin natin over social media posts na halos mas makapal pa nito. Actually, ito sa medyo marami-rami pa naman, pero kita rin natin na halos unti-unti na nilang kinukuha. At putin, no, base dito sa ating mga nakikita, iba-iba yung mga basura na nakikita natin. Katulad nito, mga kahoy, karamihan sa mga nakikita natin sa kahoy, mga plastic, no, plastic bottle, at nakikita rin natin dito sa baba yung mga sachet, no, like yung mga sachet ng shampoo, o mga sabon, no, na nakikita rin natin dito. So, halo yung nakikita natin mga basura. At actually, actually, meron din tayong kaunting nakikita mga saka ng puno, ano, na inanod na rin talaga dito. At kung tatanungin mo ko kung ano yung amoy ng or amoy sick, yung amoy dito sa paligid ng ano. Pero ito kay TVs na mga volunteer or mga personnel dito, no, kung saan nga, kung saan yung ginagawa nila paglilinis dito sa may Baclaran.
Jevo, simula nung sila ay maglinis dyan, ilang truck na ng basura ang kanilang ginamit, no? Para nga maimis itong mga basurahan na ito. At para mas malinaw sa ating mga manonood, sa ating mga kapatid, saan dinadala itong tambak na basura na nakokolekta nila ngayon dyan?
Yes, so simula kahapon nakalikot na daw sila ng workboat team na ng basura, tubigan muna sila ng around 11 p.m. kagabi, no, dahil nga nahihirapan din sila kunin yung mga basura dito dahil paiba-iba raw yung level ng dito sa parts ito ng Manisa Bay, no? Pero ngayon nakikita natin, nakapupuno na sila, no, ng halos 3 truck. Ito yung mga truck na nandito, halo-halo from the LGU ng Parañaque, tapos meron din sa MMDA, at isa din kasi sa mga nakikita nila hirap din, no, na nakikita nila is medyo malayo yung dump site, so may bandang Tinggal. Kaya yung pag-transfer o yung pag-travel ng mga dump truck medyo natatagal, dulot na rin daw talaga ng traffic. Pero ayon nga kay MMDA General Manager, magtutuloy-tuloy nga raw itong paglilinis nila, itong clearing off hanggang sa malinis at mahakot lahat ng basura na nag-iipon dito sa Baclaran.
All right, well, thanks for that report and do stay safe there. That was mobile journalist Francis Rivera reporting.
Now, some good news for motorists. Fuel prices are going down again today, August 11. Gasoline prices are down by at least 4 pesos and 70 centavos per liter, while diesel prices are reduced by at least 4 pesos and 30 centavos per liter. Kerosene prices are also down by at least 4 pesos and 88 centavos per liter. Now, this marks the second straight week of fuel price cuts, offering continued relief to consumers after the steep hikes in late July. Don't go away. Morning Matters will be back after a short break.
Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. Now, days of heavy habagat rains have caused flooding and landslides in several areas of Luzon, affecting communities and forcing some residents to evacuate. More details to this report.
Heavy rains from the southwest monsoon battered communities for days, flooding streets, submerging low-lying areas, and triggering landslides. In Baguio City, a landslide buried 3 houses in Barangay Gisad Sur. 13 people were buried under the debris. Rescue teams spent hours searching for survivors. 3 were found alive, while 10 others died. Elsewhere in Luzon, flooding continues. In Teresa, Rizal, a spillway in Barangay Dalig has been impassable for more than 3 days due to strong currents. Authorities have blocked the area and continue round-the-clock monitoring. In Parañaque, floodwaters reached knee-to-chest deep levels, forcing residents to wade through the flood. 12 of the city's 16 barangays were affected.
Main problem na talaga natin, kapag nag-high tide, hindi makalabas yung tubig. Kaya ang ginagawa natin, full dredging ng ating river. Continuous ang dredging natin, tag-init, tag-ulan, tuloy-tuloy ang dredging ng river. Basically, may problem tayo sa baha, yung ating barangay San Isidro, barangay San Dionisio, BF, Moonwalk at portion ng barangay Don Bosco.
A year after Bulacan became a focal point of the flood control corruption scandal, flooding continues to disrupt communities across the province. Habagat rains combined with high tide submerged roads and even a church, with flood waters reaching waist-to-thigh deep levels. In Quezon City, forced evacuation was carried out in Sitio Uno, Barangay North Fairview after La Mesa Dam reached its spilling level.
Pumasok na yung tubig po sa namin, sa bahay po namin, kaya baka matrap kami. Habang maaga pa, inilikas ko na po yung ito pong apo ko para masave po kami. Sanay na po kami kasi lagi naman po kaming ganito. Tuwing bumabagyo po, bumabaha. Kunting ulan lang po kasi bumabaha na doon sa amin.
Now, flooding has hit dozens of barangays in Bulacan, forcing hundreds of families to evacuate. Joining us now for the latest is Bulacan PDRRMO head Manuel Lucban Jr. Good morning, sir. Sir? Can you hear us? Sir? Sir Manuel? All right, so we'll get back to you, Sir Manuel. So, guys, again, Bulacan, this has always been a problem there. And then yung residents there, last time I was there, 3 years of not seeing their first floors.
Yes.
An entire community like that living on boats.
Hindi, parang it has always been submerged, no? Some of the towns there in Bulacan. And earlier today, I was able to talk to Sir Manuel on a good frontline sa umaga.
New show.
Okay, new show. Okay. He said that there are a lot of factors that contributed to the inundated communities in Bulacan. Number one, of course, the high tide, no? And then kasama yung pag-release ng waters from Ipo Dam and Bustos Dam.
Okay.
No? And then, of course, napag-usapan din namin yung 200 flood control projects na stall, ano, doon sa Bulacan. So, and then, of course, yung mga other factors pa, like basura, etc. Pero talaga, yung mga taga-Bulacan, mga Bulakenyo, sanay na sila, pero they don't deserve this. Diba?
It's actually sad because this has become normalized already. You know, we're seeing videos of residents still passing through knee-deep waters. And it's really sad kasi actually here in Metro Manila, some areas, mabilis yung pag-subside ng flood, diba?
And even in Marikina, diba, it was in the news na in fairness, gumana daw yung flood control project
MMDA
nila.
Chairman Ron Artes said, so far gumagana naman yung ibang ating flood control projects.
I think we have back on the line Bulacan PDRRMO head Manuel Lucban Jr. Sir Manuel, good morning.
Yes,
Sir
good
Manuel.
morning.
Alright.
Yes.
Okay, sir, so maybe we'll just ask first off, how's the flood situation in Bulacan this morning? Which areas are still the most affected? Any roads unpassable?
Yes. Foremost, the present situation of Bulacan is, we can say, it's good already in a sense that we already experienced it, a sunny day here, some cloudy, but we can already see such sunshine here. So generally, our roads are passable, but we also consider now in monitoring the level of our high tide, particularly in coastal areas, since as of this day, we have a record of 4.7, about 4.7 level of high tide at about 8:20 this morning. So, in effect, our coastal areas still subside with that level of high tide. Water is still high, reaching about 1 to 3 feet in some localities nearby in the coastal. In the
Sir,
coastal.
just to clarify, most roads are passable.
Particularly, our main roads here are the MacArthur Highway. MacArthur Highway is possible from May Kawayan going to Kalumpit, the stretch of it, while only some parts have a gutter deep water, particularly somewhere in Marilao, in Panginay Balagtas, but still light vehicles can pass through. Similarly, the second primary road here in Bulacan is the Maharlika Road from Plaridel going to San Miguel to Nueva Ecija. So, still, as of this hour, the report, based on our report, is still possible. Only in some parts of San Miguel and San Rafael, there are a gutter deep floods. So, but still, light vehicles can pass through.
Sir Manuel, before we let you go, how many families remain in evacuation centers, and how are they doing? What's their most urgent need right now?
So, based on the record, in coordination with our PSWD, or the Social Welfare Development Office, as of this time, we have about 3,254 families staying in the evacuation center, or about 10,968 individuals. These displaced persons coming from the 24 localities or 4 cities and 20 municipalities of Bulacan.
All right, thank you, Bulacan PDRMO Head Manuel Lucban Jr.
Right, in other news, the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte resumes today after being suspended due to heavy rains. And for the details, we now have mobile journalist Merimon Reyes. Okay, Merimon, so what can we expect from today's impeachment proceedings?
Pauline, with the weather now somehow forgiving, the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte is set to continue at 10 o'clock a.m. with State Auditor Celine Del Campo will still be called to the witness stand for her direct examination on the part of the prosecution and cross-examination on the part of the defense. And if possible, there would also be clarificatory questions or interjection from senator judges. Meanwhile, ang isa sa inaantabayanan din natin is if itong dalawang, yung Special Disbursement Officer ng OVP pati ng DepEd na sina Gina Acosta and Edward Pajarda ay aabot pa sa kanilang presentation or sa kanilang pagpapatawag this week, since naudlot nga kahapon, walang impeachment trial, so nausog si Del Campo for today, and depende na rin daw yan sa time and motion kung gaano yung itatagal ni Del Campo habang siya pa ang nakaupo sa witness stand. Pauline.
All right, thank you very much for that report. That was mobile journalist Merimon Reyes.
Now, the government's proposed 2027 national budget is now with President Marcos. The DBM submitted the 7.2 trillion peso national expenditure program to the president on Monday. The spending plan prioritizes education, health, livelihoods, security, and community development. It is 407 billion pesos, or 6% higher than this year's national budget. The proposal will be formally transmitted to Congress today. Meanwhile, classes at all levels are suspended today in parts of Metro Manila, La Union, and Pangasinan. This includes San Juan, Taguig, Las Piñas, and Marikina, along with several areas in Pangasinan. Now, more areas in Pangasinan have also called off classes at all levels. The suspension also covers several cities and municipalities in Bulacan. And more local governments have suspended classes at all levels. Several areas in Pampanga are also included in the list. Classes at all levels are also suspended in more parts of Pampanga. The list also includes select areas in Cavite and Rizal. Meanwhile, face-to-face classes are suspended in several parts of Metro Manila. In-person classes are also called off in Laguna and select areas of Cavite and Rizal.
Don't go away because Money Talks with Kathy Yang is up next to get you ahead of the market. Stay tuned to One News.
70 centavos per liter. Diesel prices were also reduced by 4 pesos and 30 centavos per liter. A liter of kerosene is now cheaper by nearly 5 pesos. The Energy Department says these changes are based on the movements in the global oil market amid ongoing developments in the Middle East that are affecting global supply and prices. The United States and Iran are continuing indirect talks aimed at de-escalating the conflict. Washington is turning to economic pressure instead of launching another major attack, but negotiations remain stalled, with Tehran demanding major concessions from the U.S. before it agrees to fully reopen the Strait of Hormuz. As of 8:30 a.m. Philippine time, benchmark Brent crude is trading at a little over $87 a barrel, down by less than 0.1%. West Texas Intermediate priced at around $82 a barrel, down by less than 0.1%. Meantime, Meralco customers can expect lower electricity bills this month. The rate is going down by 0.042 centavos per kilowatt hour. That means households consuming 200 kilowatt per hour can expect a reduction of around 9 pesos in their monthly bill.
The main reason for the overall reduction ay yung unang buwan ng pag-implement ng tinatawag na AWAT refund na inaprubahan ng ERC. Mas malaki sana yung naging reduction na naramdaman ng customers kundi dahil sa pagtaas ng ancillary service charge na bill ng NGCP.
In other news, Philippine Ambassador to the U.S., Jose Manuel Babe Romualdez, warns that other Southeast Asian countries could take our place if the country drops the ball on the Pax Silica initiative. The project envisions a hub in New Clark City, Tarlac, with the Philippines chosen as a participant because of its status as a trusted U.S. ally. Romualdez also pushed back against what he called misinformation surrounding the project, assuring that any agreements or terms will be made transparent. Pax Silica has faced concerns over its possible impact on local communities and the environment, particularly with the proposed development of AI data centers.
I hope that they realize that we're not the only game in town. If we don't take this one, there are many other Asian countries that are prepared to take it on.
Pax Silica is being positioned as a long-term bet on the Philippines' role in AI, semiconductors, and advanced technology. Development at New Clark City could begin within 3 to 5 years. The question is whether it will deliver technology transfer, higher value jobs, and a stronger Filipino capability, or become an enclave primarily serving foreign interests. In our continuing conversations in Pax Silica, with us today is Engineer Luis Chito Jacinto of ISOG, the Information Security Officers Group, a professional organization for cybersecurity and information security practitioners. It's good seeing you, Engineer Chito. Welcome to the program.
Pleasure's mine.
Okay, the Pax Silica project is being presented as something that would move us up the value chain when it comes to AI, as well as semiconductors. But the question is, should we join at all? Or should we join under clear considerations?
On my end, I believe it has to be under clear considerations. However, I am in the belief that Pax Silica will actually contribute to our technological advancement and technological capabilities, because AI is a direction today, and AI has already been an issue. But the thing that I would like to stress is the fact that we need AI to fight AI-supported threats. And this is something that we can do if Pax Silica is around.
If Pax Silica is around,
yes.
There's a lot going on there. It's beyond Pax Silica. It's the technology that's running ahead of regulation. What to you would be an ideal framework then, being a cybersecurity professional, for you to accept that Pax Silica will benefit Filipinos?
Okay. First and foremost, we have to make sure that AI has humans at the center of it. We do not have an opportunity to control AI unless people actually manages it, administers it, and controls it. The thing with AI is the speed of its operations. As it operates at the speed that it was built to do, people may not be able to keep up with what's happening, what it's doing. But if we have a clear perspective of what instructions, what training we have provided for AI, then it's going to be easier for us to have a better understanding of what it's doing at any point in time.
Right. The other fear is really the fear of missing out, as you've heard from
Yes.
Ambassador Romualdez saying,
True.
if we don't take this, others will in the ASEAN. But are you in agreement that the risk, if realized, will really be real, that we will miss out if we do not accept Pax Silica into the Philippines?
From a technology perspective, I would like to say that it is my personal belief, again, that if we miss out on this, we lose out. So what's important for us is to make sure that if Pax Silica is something that we're actually going to implement in the country, we just need to make sure that we've got some way of monitoring what's going to happen. And whatever issues are being raised against Pax Silica has to be reviewed, and everything that's going to be done for its implementation has to be clearly transparent.
What do you want to monitor? What in the technology concerns you
At
beyond
this
Pax
point,
Silica?
from a technology perspective, I want to make sure, for me, what's important is that we can use the AI outputs or the AI capabilities that we're going to gain out of Pax Silica to actually overcome whatever problems or whatever threats may exist that are supported also by AI.
Yep.
We can only fight AI with AI.
You mentioned quantum cryptography.
Yes.
Quite a new phrase, but it's something that you put in parallel with the concerns that we already know about Pax Silica. What
Yes.
exactly is the concern?
Well, first and foremost, if we talk about when we use the term quantum, we're actually in the process, or at least the world is in the process of developing quantum technology. It speeds up processing more than maybe about 100 times faster than the supercomputers that we're aware of right now. The problem that we have with post-quantum cryptology and quantum day, the arrival of quantum day or Q day, is that the capability to decrypt data that has been exfiltrated from different companies becomes faster as opposed to current capabilities. A supercomputer that exists today can take several years to decrypt all of this gigabytes, terabytes of data. But with quantum, that could only take no more than 8 hours.
So you're saying that there is an issue over protecting people's data, government data.
Yes.
This is your main concern.
It is.
National sovereignty issues.
Yes.
I know that you proposed in an interview a unified AI governance framework.
Yes.
Well, how would that look like then? I mean, a framework that would benefit the Filipinos and also protect their data from a cybersecurity perspective.
Yes. The primary concern that I raised was the ability that we're going to develop to actually not just protect the data now, because the data is at least some of the data that's actually been acquired by the threat actors are already encrypted, and today they're finding it difficult to decrypt them. But there will come a time when Q day arrives, when PQC becomes the norm. That's where they will have the ability to actually decrypt this data.
So that is a call for the government to pull in regulations before they even put up Pax Silica. That's what you're saying.
Yes, because right now the problem we have is the implementation of harvest now, decrypt later, where they harvest all those data, they just store them, put them aside, and wait for quantum to take effect, or for quantum technology to exist so that they can actually decrypt this data. And a lot of the data, especially from the financial institutions, have a life of 10 years. So if you're able to harvest them today and it's less than 10 years down the line, those are still active data.
I want to pull in the Vatican because the Pope had something to say about AI, both good and bad, but
Yes,
the bad part is
sure.
really deepening injustice. Let's listen in.
Let's not fear artificial intelligence, but constantly keep the question of the human in play. We cannot be careless with our most powerful technical instruments.
So how does that relate to Pax Silica when we want the Filipino in play, the Filipino human in play, from your perspective?
Yes, that's what I was saying earlier when I mentioned that humans must be in the center of AI. Because AI may not necessarily be something good or bad, but it's the humans that actually develop it. It's the humans that actually train it. And what it does is dependent on the training that it gets from humans. But it learns on its own. That's why the problem with AI is if it starts learning something that's not in accordance with our ethics, that may be a problem, and that's going to be a serious problem.
All right, because Pax Silica is AI enabled and led. Well,
Yes.
thank you so much. It's a continuing conversation.
It's
in fact,
my pleasure.
Thank you, Engineer Chito Jacinto of ISOG. And you're watching Money Talks. Coming right up, our conversation with investment coach June Tarobago as he shares of listed companies linked to the Lopez Group rallied after Ramon Ang acquires the stake in privately held parent company Lopez Inc. And the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte resumes today. An update from the Senate from our mobile journalist, Merimon Reyes. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back to Money Talks. I'm Kathy Yang. The impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte resumes today after proceedings were suspended due to heavy rains. For the latest, we have mobile journalist Merimon Reyes at the Senate. So what can we expect today, Merimon?
Kathy, with the weather now forgiving, the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte is set to continue at 10 o'clock in the morning. And the impeachment court, well, the prosecution to be specific, is still focusing on Article of Impeachment 1, which alleges the Vice President of misuse of public funds or the 612.5 million pesos in confidential funds of the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education. State Auditor Silene Del Campo will still be called to the witness stand for the direct examination on the part of the prosecution, cross-examination if time permits on the part of the defense, and interjections or clarificatory questions from senator judges. What we're also waiting are what will happen to the proposed stipulations of the prosecution since Clerk of Court Secretary Ray Bantung told us that the prosecution and the defense are yet to settle on a date of conference wherein they will be comparing the documents, acknowledgement receipts, and other stipulations that the prosecution is proposing. And so far, that is the latest from the Senate Impeachment Court. Back to you, Kathy.
Trial is on. Thank you so much for the update. Mobile journalist Merimon Reyes. Foreign direct investment inflows into the Philippines fell to an 11-year low in May amid still cautious investor sentiment. Preliminary data from the central bank show FDI net inflows plunged nearly 65% to $210 million in May from $595 million a year earlier. That was also 16% lower than April's $250 million, the lowest in more than 10 years. Union Bank Chief Economist Ruben Carlo Asuncion says geopolitical risks, inflation, weak economic activity, and peso weakness have weighed on investor sentiment. Meanwhile, Reyes Tacandong and Company Senior Advisor Jonathan Ravela says investors are also watching trade uncertainties, infrastructure rollout, power costs, and the ease of doing business. Let's take a quick check on the Philippine peso in SIA that opened on Tuesday. It is weaker, 60.90 against the dollar. On Monday, the peso gained 19.5 centavos to close at 60 pesos and 70.5 centavos. The move came as the dollar remained under pressure following the weaker U.S. jobs data. RCBC Chief Economist Michael Ricafort says the peso also got support from BSP Governor Eli Remolona's signal that the central bank is ready to tighten policy to contain inflation. For today, traders expect the peso to gain further ahead of the U.S. inflation data while also watching developments in the Middle East. Checking in on the markets overseas, U.S. futures ended mixed in overnight trading. The Nasdaq advanced by 0.2%, S&P 500 climbs by 0.1%, and the Dow slips by 0.1%. Asian markets are also trading mixed this Tuesday. Japan's Nikkei 225 up over 2%. Australia's ASX 200 rises 0.1%, and South Korea declines by about 1.3%. U.S. stocks fell on Monday as Iran's refusal to open the Strait of Hormuz caused another spike in oil and inflation fears. The Nasdaq declined by 0.3%, with the Dow and the S&P slipping by 0.1% each. Philippine stocks ended lower Monday. Investors turned cautious after weaker second quarter GDP data and continued uncertainty over the Strait of Hormuz. The PSEI slipped near the flat line to close at 6,289. The broader all-shares index, meanwhile, gained 2.37 points to 3,420. And the 10-year government bond yield ticked down to 7.26%. In corporate news, business tycoon Ramon Ang has acquired a 25.68% stake in Lopez Inc. amid an ongoing dispute within the Lopez family. Ang bought the stake from Crem Investment Corporation, which represents the family branch of former ABS-CBN chair Eugenio Gabi Lopez III. Lopez said the sale will help restore family peace while allowing his branch to focus on other business priorities. The Lopez family dispute erupted publicly in February over the attempted removal of Federico Piqui Lopez as president and CEO. For his part, Ang said he believes his experience can help the company's businesses, while both Lopez family branches welcomed his entry. Shares of listed companies linked to the Lopez Group rallied after Ramon Ang acquired the Gabi Lopez family branch's 25.68% stake in privately held parent Lopez Inc. With us for more, investment coach June Tarobago. Well, it's good seeing you again, June. Welcome back to the program.
Likewise, Kathy. Happy to be here. Morning.
All right. Well, I'm going to pick up from where we last left. When on July 17, you told us that the proposed $5 billion offer by Indonesia's Barito for EDC highlighted the value of First Gen's EDC stake. And you urged investors then to wait for clarity on the transaction and the governance situation. So does RSA's entry now into Lopez Inc. provide any of that clarity? Or is the governance discount still intact?
I think if anything, it adds another layer of who approves the sale, or if the if Energy Development Corp can actually be sold, or it can be easily approved. And also note that the purchase of Mr. Ang happened as you mentioned, I think 3 weeks after Indonesian company offered $5 billion for EDC, and Mr. Ang did not buy control. I think he bought 25%, right, or 26%, and Lopez Inc. has 4 family blocks, none with a majority. But this 26% paired with either of the 2 bigger blocks crosses 50%, so that's the swing position. So it's not control. So you're right earlier. I think Mr. Lopez called this family peace. So that's worth noting how that evolves. And yeah, I think it just adds another layer of uncertainty. It doesn't necessarily guarantee the sale or make the sale easier. But I think that phrase you mentioned in the last part of your question was important, that both parties welcome the entry of Mr. Ang. So
All right, well, let's talk about
that's
value.
significant.
As you mentioned, it's another layer of who approves. That's another layer of uncertainty. You previously estimated that the EDC proposal implied roughly 39 pesos per FGen share. So does that remain a useful valuation reference, or do you think that the family dispute and the wider ownership developments change the appropriate discount?
It doesn't change the math. What you mentioned, what I mentioned in that July episode was July 17 episode was 39. That's the simple look through. So First Gen, just for clarity, owns 45.8% of EDC economically, and Barito, the Indonesian company that made the bid, reported, I think, $5 billion. That was the bid, no? That's worth around 138 to 141 billion pesos. So that's roughly 39 pesos per share of pure look-through value. So First Gen isn't trading anywhere close to that. So that gap isn't the target price. It's nothing signed. So actually, nothing's changed for me. No financing's been disclosed. What this means, if anything, is that maybe we're one step closer to a resolution, but it's far from clear at this point.
Resolution towards what?
Towards having a clear ability to sell, approval to sell that prized asset of First Gen, which is EDC.
All right. Well, that takes us towards all the Lopez-linked shares. I mean, I know that you've cautioned against making investment decisions merely based on a headline, but are the recent gains in the Lopez-linked shares, would you consider that an event-driven rally, or do they reflect a credible repricing somehow down the line of governance risk?
Yes, I think more than anything, it reflects sentiment that Mr. Ang can add value. Maybe he can be indeed the steady hand that guides the conglomerate through these disputed waters. No? So yeah, I think that's the market is simply saying that we think there's some resolution to this, and when there is resolution, value can be unlocked or value can be untrapped.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what would you like to hear from him? He's going to be meeting his members of the board of directors on August 13th. What are you hearing on the street? What he might say? What would you like to hear?
Yeah, so not necessarily from him. I would be curious about what San Miguel's disclosure and what San Miguel actually does about this. So something that's not being talked about in the media so far is that Mr. Ang runs San Miguel Global Power, or SMGP, which actually competes with the Lopez Link generation or generators for the same contracts. I think in February, was it this year, they were competing again for some of Meralco's contracts. So I think it's not wrong. It just requires some immediate governance solutions on the part of SMC's board to manage. So that's just something I would be curious about. I'm also curious about who fills in the board seats of CREM, and that will give us some indication as to how this thing moves forward, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that of all the shares linked to that transaction, SMC closed unchanged. Where do you think ABS-CBN is situated in all this? Given that the transaction does not transfer control of the media company, how does RSA's entry into Lopez Inc. change, if at all, ABS-CBN's strategic options, funding outlook, governance?
I think given where Mr. Ang is coming from, he brings a very shrewd and very street smart approach to handling business. So expect more of that, I think, in the way ABS-CBN handles things. I mean, they could definitely benefit from that.
All right, we'll leave it there and get back to you on your thoughts after that meeting happens on August 13. Thank you so much, June Tarobago, investment coach. That is it for Money Talks. I'm Kathy Yang. Catch us again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Kapatid, we are One News, your side, all the time. Morning Matters returns at 9:30 a.m. Have a great day ahead.
Good morning mga kapatid. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. The combined effects of tropical cyclones Luis and Maymay and the enhanced southwest monsoon have killed 19 people, according to the latest report from the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. Benguet recorded the highest number of fatalities at 12, mostly due to landslides. Rizal reported 4 deaths, while Batangas recorded 3. The NDRRMC also reported 15 injured, while 4 people remain missing. The weather disturbances have affected more than 2.2 million people, or 646,676 families across 10 regions. Nearly 95,000 individuals are currently staying in 919 evacuation centers nationwide. Government assistance provided so far totals more than 73.5 billion pesos.
President Marcos, meanwhile, is backing his son's account of an alleged power struggle surrounding the 2022 elections. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the president told her that Congressman Sandro Marcos will not lie. The younger Marcos earlier claimed 3 unnamed individuals sought control over key government appointments in exchange for supporting his father's presidential bid. Malacanang has declined to identify the people referred to in the allegations.
At ang sabi lamang sa akin ay, he has raised his kids well, and his son, Kong Sandro, will not lie. Yun lang po ang binigay na mensahe ng Pangulo. Sa ating palagay, nakita mismo ni Congressman Sandro Marcos ang sitwasyon kung bakit niya yan nasabi. Hindi napagbigyan siguro ang ibang mga kahilingan, kaya sinasabi na may power struggle dahil may mga grupo na gusto manatili sa posisyon at hawakan at kontrolin ang Pangulo. At hindi yun pinayagan ni Pangulo Marcos Jr.
The Health Department has a new chief less than a month after Dr. Brix Pujalte took office. President Bongbong Marcos has appointed PhilHealth President and CEO Dr. Edwin Mercado as Health Secretary. Malacanang said Pujalte resigned due to health concerns. But recall that Pujalte had also recently faced an ombudsman complaint over the alleged delay in the procurement of tuberculosis medicines. He was appointed DOH Secretary only last July 13.
In other news, the Senate will resume the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte today after proceedings were suspended due to heavy rains. COA Supervising Auditor Celine May Del Campo is expected to continue her testimony. House Legislative Information Resources Management Department Director Marivic Pareja is also scheduled to take the witness stand. The prosecution will also call former Special Disbursing Officers Gina Acosta of the Office of the Vice President and Edward Fajardo of the Department of Education to testify.
Now, to help us break down the legal and constitutional issues, we're joined by law professor and constitutional law book author, Attorney Jennifer Reyes. Attorney Jen, good morning.
Good morning, Miss Angela, Miss Nikki, and Miss Pauline.
Good morning, Attorney.
So first up, as the trial resumes, what should we be watching out for the prosecution today?
Well, for the prosecution today, let's watch out for the continuation of the testimony of Auditor Del Campo. Why is this significant? Because she will likewise testify on the specific steps which were made by the ICFAO unit of COA after her replacement of Attorney Wamil in the said unit, right? She will further testify as to her observations, why they issued the consequent audit observation memoranda. To recall, kapag po sinabing audit observation memoranda, ito ay isang written notice that there are deficiencies in the submitted documents by a particular agency who had possession of confidential and intelligence funds and requiring that said agency to submit the required or necessary documents and official evidence. So let us watch out if Ms. Del Campo, Auditor Del Campo, will sufficiently or efficiently rather testify as to the contents of the audit observation memoranda, because this was the first step rather prior to the issuance of the notice of suspension and thereafter the notice of disallowance. So if she will be able to testify efficiently the steps taken by ICFAO unit, then this will truly reinforce Attorney Wamil's prior testimony. So let us all listen to what she will say today.
Lot to watch out for today. It is the 14th day of the impeachment trial, and it's about to start in just a few minutes, right? And there are actually a lot of pending matters in the impeachment court. One of that, of course, is the stipulations last week of the defense, right? They refused to stipulate on certain acknowledgement receipts. They were supposed to iron that, I believe, Thursday, Friday, and even over the weekend, but they weren't able to do so. So that's actually my next question for Attorney Jen Reyes.
Is it a legal defense strategy, or is it, just pure obstruction?
Kasi last week we were talking to Congressman Adyong, and for him, for the prosecution, they believe it's a delaying tactic.
Yes, because this should be in the pre-trial stage in the first place. But of course, at some point, Attorney Lorna Kapunan at that time said that she is willing to use whatever it is with the defense team, ng ARs nila, so that they can just, proceed.
But these are part of the COA report, right, as well? These acknowledgements, receipts from the OVP. So
they submitted it themselves, right? As the OVP, the DepEd. That's why the prosecution is questioning, bakit ngayon ayaw nyo gamitin yung documents nyo and you're refusing to stipulate? But on the part of the defense, they raised something about the chain of custody. They're questioning, baka na-tamper na yan. All right, so we have Attorney Jen Reyes back on the line. All right, so Attorney, that's my question. Can the impeachment hearing proceed today, even if the defense did not agree to stipulate on some certain facts, particularly the acknowledgement receipts?
Definitely, the impeachment court or trial can proceed today because in fact, may punto yung prosecution na yan nga ang purpose ng pre-trial conference as to make the impeachment trial process more organized and efficient. Dapat noong una pa lamang or sa pre-trial conference pa lamang ay nag-admit na or nag-stipulate na ang depensa regarding these thousands of documents, because I heard Ms. Nikki kanina, we can also surmise that this is a defense strategy, or this is a stratagem of the defense. However, the defense must also be fair because tandaan natin na milyon-milyon ang ginugugol ng impeachment trial sa bawat araw ng paglilitis. Kaya hindi pwedeng gamitin na lamang ito to further delay the impeachment process. So in my humble opinion, the defense must agree to the stipulations of these thousands of documents out of court so as to save time and of course to save, to prevent the boredom of our kababayans. Biruin nyo, papapanoorin mo yung mga kababayan natin ng
Mag-iisa-isa.
pag-e-examine lamang ng mga libo-libong dokumento. Walang manonood niyan. But then again, maybe, I can only surmise, maybe that's the purpose for the public to lose interest in this impeachment trial.
Well, I have two concerns, Attorney Jen. One would be is that merong bang parang ini-establish ang defense dito na pagdududa sa COA itself na hindi maayos yung mga naibigay nila na acknowledgement receipts. Hence, ang kanilang pinupunto dito ay kanilang chain of custody daw. Second point also, what do you make of Attorney Lorna Capunan last week saying, now, sige, we are willing to take in whatever you have there in the defense para mag-proceed na tayo because these are ARs came from the defense naman talaga.
Exactly, no. This is what is ironic as to the defense's argument. First, mga dokumento nila to, no? Na mga isinumite nila sa Commission on Audit. So they will know if these documents, these thousands of documents they submitted are genuine or faithful reproductions of what they submitted. Pangalawa, when you submit documents to a constitutional agency like the Commission on Audit, since they will be the repository or custodian officially of these documents, if they certify these copies as certified true copies, there will be a presumption that these documents are truly the same as what the agency submitted to the Commission on Audit. Kaya going to your next question, tama si Attorney Capunan doon na kung gusto ng defense, di yung dokumento nila ang gamitin natin dahil confident kami na kung ano man ang isusumite ng defense, yun din ang dokumento namin dahil ito naman ay nanggaling sa kanila. And what is the message of that to the public? It sends a message that the prosecution walang kinakatakutan, kumbaga, at handa sila kung ano man ang maging legal strategy or argument ng depensa regarding these documents ay handa silang pasinungalingan or banggain. Kaya it is a positive what do you call this, strategy or outcome rather for the prosecution.
Attorney Jen, since we're talking documents, no, how important ba is strict document authentication to protecting the final verdict one day from legal challenges?
But, well, of course, just like in any ordinary proceeding, we must make sure that the documents presented by the prosecution and the defense are not fabricated, they are authenticated. And in this case, the dilemma of the defense, just like what I mentioned a while ago, is that these documents they submitted, they already have the presumption of regularity by the Commission on Audit. Because how will you allege irregularity on the part of the Commission on Audit by merely the flimsy excuse na nasa kanila na kasi yung original Baka hindi na namin sure kung yan pa ba talaga yon. As a matter of standard operating procedure, may mga receiving copy yan, di ba? Nag-iiwan ka dapat ng iyong sariling kopya sa iyong ahensya kahit binigay mo ang original doon sa naturang ahensya or Commission on Audit. So, will it hold water, the defense's argument that maybe these are not the same pristine or raw documents that we submitted to the Commission on Audit? Or will that be a cause for them to further exacerbate their already weak legal position?
Well, Attorney, another matter that was debated last week was the issue on the accountable officer. Senator Amy Marcos pointed out that in the joint memorandum circular, it says that the head of the agency or the person designated, in this case, the SDOs or the special disbursing officers, are the ones accountable. But how would you interpret that, Attorney? Kasi hindi ba dito pumapasok dapat yung command responsibility as the head of the agency, given that Vice President Sara Duterte even signed the accomplishment reports, cash advances herself?
That is a good question, no? With all due respect to Senator Amy, she is incorrect with respect to that interpretation because according to the Joint Circular 2015-01, an accountable officer is a person or an official of the government whose duties allow him or her to possess these confidential funds. And the accountable officer is either the head of the agency and or the special disbursing officer, which he or she will designate. However, as to the argument that since an SDO was designated, it does not relieve the head of agency from accountability. Why? Because actually, under section or item 6.3 of the said Joint Circular 2015-01, it expressly provides that the head of the agency must ensure that these funds or the agency-wide disposition of these funds comply with the circular and the laws. Additionally, the Joint Circular also explicitly provides that the head of the agency must ensure that his or her employees or subordinates comply with laws and the Joint Circular itself. And you are correct in pointing out that, in fact, VP Duterte did not only sign the authority of the SDO, she also verified or certified the acknowledgement receipts. And when you do that, you are attesting that the confidential activities and the confidential funds were truly used in these supposed activities. So that is important to point out. Hindi lamang siya pumirma doon sa authority ng SDO, pati yung accomplishment receipts or reports rather, pumirma din siya.
That is why in the first part of the presentation of this article, talagang pinoint out ng prosecution how important or how relevant is her signature to all of the documents. Tama po?
Tama ka dyan, Miss Angela. Kumbaga, in layman's term, hindi naman basta-basta makakalusot ang head of agency dahil lamang may dinesignate siya ng SDO. It will defeat the purpose of strengthening accountability. Kasi kung ganoon, edi lahat na lamang ng head of agency ay relax na lamang. Wala na siyang pakialam kung saan gagamitin ng mga subordinates niya yung kaba ng bayan.
Right. But my question also, Attorney, is that the defense has been pointing out that there is no proof, there is no evidence that the Vice President has pocketed such money. No? So does this actually, or does the prosecution actually need to prove where the money go, or where did the money go, or kumbaga parang can a pattern of irregular liquidation, diba, irregular withdrawals can already establish that there's a culpable violation of public trust?
Another good question, no? Although, I commiserate with the defense, but ito yung ganda ng Joint Circular. Kaya nilagay din mismo sa Joint Circular 2015-01 that if the accountable officer will not be able to explain where he or she spent these confidential funds, there will be a presumption that these confidential funds were utilized for her or his personal uses. May presumption. So ang mangyayari niyan ngayon, the burden of evidence will shift and the defense must prove that indeed they used or utilized these confidential funds to its specific or correct purposes. And this also mirrors the presumption under the revised penal code, if you will observe, in the crime of malversation. this is also the presumption. Again, if the accountable officer, kung hindi mo maipapaliwanag kung saan mo dinala or ginamit ang mga pondo, may presumption, may pagtatangi ang batas na ito ay ginamit mo sa iyong pansariling interes. Kaya weak defense kapag sinabi ng depensa na hindi nyo naman wala naman kayong pruweba eh. Kaya nga nilagay na sa joint circular na may presumption. Basta hindi mo mapaliwanag, kailangan patunayan mo na tamang purpose ang pinaggamitan mo ng confidential funds.
Attorney Jen, another issue that I'd like to pick your brain about is Attorney Powa and the conflict of interest. I mean, he was Deputy Chief of Staff during the time that all these funds were spent, but he's now defending VP Sara. I mean, we know that the impeachment court did kind of brush it aside, but legally speaking, can he just shield himself from all this just because he can invoke attorney-client privilege? And what's your take on this?
And that will be the dilemma, right? That exactly will be the conflict that we are talking about. Because even if we will give good faith or the benefit of the doubt to Attorney Powa, once he will be called as a witness, right? As one of the former officials of the Department of Education, he can just invoke that he cannot answer the questions because it will violate his attorney-client privilege with Vice President Sara Duterte. And I believe that is quite unfair, right? That will be quite unfair for the prosecution and even the defense, because you will deprive your client also of the opportunity through your witnesses to further explain or elucidate kung saan napunta ang mga pondo ng Department of Education. So as early as now, of course, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to Attorney Powa, but as early as now, maybe he must decide on whether he will continue as one of the official counsels of VP Duterte or he will, ire-reserba niya yung sarili niya para maging testigo sa kaso ni VP Duterte.
So today, Attorney COA State Auditor Silene Del Campo is expected to continue her testimony. But what people are actually looking forward to are the next two witnesses of the prosecution. Sabi nga ni Attorney Ligutan, magiging exciting daw because for the first time in this impeachment trial, they will be calling on two hostile witnesses. So I guess for the benefit of our viewers, Attorney, what is the difference between a hostile witness and a regular witness, and what can we expect from the testimonies of these two special disbursing officers?
Well, of course, to emphasize, napaka-crucial ng magiging mga testimonya ng two special disbursing officers na ito, si Ms. Acosta and Mr. Fajarda. So it is my plea to our countrymen na sana po ay panoorin nyo at wag nyong ituring na boring ang magiging testimonya nila. Why? Because these individuals, they were the exact individuals kung saan sila ang nag-encash ng mga cheque, yung 612.5 million na confidential funds. Abangan natin sa kanilang testimonya kung will they state certain individuals na pinagbigyan nila ng mga perang ito, because from those individuals, matetrace na natin. Kung magsasabi sila ng mga specific na tao kung kanino nila binigay, then accordingly, these persons must be subpoenaed to testify also para matrace natin ang lahat ng dinaanan ng confidential funds na ito. Ang dapat nating abangan, will they take the blame? Will they, exculpate VP Duterte from liability and say that VP Duterte does not have anything to do with what we did? Or will they specifically testify that these confidential funds were given to these individuals under the direct instruction of Vice President Duterte? Because in the latter case, then wala na tayong pag-uusapan kung accountable pa ba or kung pwedeng maging liable ang head of agency sa usaping ito or argumentong ito. Because in that case, yes, she can be held liable.
Well, Attorney Jen, at this point in the trial, are we already seeing enough evidence to establish impeachable offense, or there are still irregularities that we need to, we need to connect pa to the Vice President?
At this stage, well, it's too early or it's too soon to tell. Why? Because, of course, we must also wait for the defense to present their counter evidence and counter arguments as a matter of due process. Although the evidence of the prosecution is strengthening, or the arguments of the prosecution are continuously strengthening as the days go by, let us wait also for the defense para maging fair din naman sa kampo ni VP Duterte. Abangan din natin bago tayo magkaroon ng at least early assessment kung pwede na ba itong matawag na impeachable offense.
But I just want to follow up lang, Attorney, in that case, do you think somehow during the cross-examination of the defense, meron ba silang mga naging puntos doon for you? Are there any issues or concerns that they were able to raise na masasabi nyo na, okay, good point yun para sa defense?
Actually, believe it or not, I am rooting for the defense. Believe it or not. However, if you will recall, the cross-examination of Attorney Poa last week, he invoked a certain 1992 joint circular which Attorney Kapunan efficiently rebutted na hindi na yan applicable, repealed accordingly na nga according to Joint Circular 2015-01. He or they also mentioned, the defense also mentioned na kumbaga hindi lang naman si VP Duterte ang nagkaroon ng confidential funds, si former VP Binay din, etc. In legal parlance, those are fallacies. Those are not sound legal arguments because with all due respect, you are deflecting as to the real issue. 'Di ba? Ang sagutin mo kung bakit or kung saan napunta yung confidential funds. So those strategies, with all due respect, they are quite weak, but this week, maybe the defense will, be able to level up. Ang maipapayo ko sa kanila dito, although their strategy actually was, these are merely administrative procedures daw, na hindi naman nag-a-amount sa impeachable offense. Maybe they can bank on that. However, that is quite a difficult argument to advance or propose.
So, Attorney Jen, I think we still have a little more time. Let's go back to the two hostile witnesses, the two dispersing officers. So, should they invoke the right to self-incrimination? Kasi nga exciting, di ba? Parang, which side will it hurt more? And how can both sides use the fact that they're hostile witnesses to their advantage?
Of course, they can claim the privilege that their right against self-incrimination might be violated. However, let us remember, this is an impeachment trial. The public...
Attorney Jen?
Oo, nawala.
I think you're on mute.
All right,
We
Can you
lost
hear
you
me?
there.
There you go.
She's back. She's back.
Ayan. Of course, if they will just frequently claim the said privilege, we are referring to an impeachment trial here. The public is watching. It will hurt the defense because ang magiging translation niyan sa publiko, may tinatago ba kayo? Bakit ayaw niyong sagutin ng diretso kung tama naman ang inyong mga ginawa? Hence, if they will claim the privilege against self-incrimination too often during their testimony, it will definitely hurt the defense's case. And maybe that's the reason, one of the reasons why they are called by the prosecution as witnesses.
Well, Attorney, we're already starting to see the impeachment court get filled up. It is the 14th day of the impeachment trial. We already saw Attorney Michael Poa there, even speaking to Attorney Lorna Capuna from the prosecution. But I wanted to ask you, Attorney, about the senator judges. What did you make of their interjections and their questions? Because some people have observed that their questions are now being argumentative instead of inquisitory, instead of clarificatory. Is there any way to remind the senator judges to stay impartial, because I know the prosecution and defense cannot object to any of these questions. But the presiding officer, Senator Cheese Escudero, is also not reminding these judges to stay impartial with their questioning. So ganun po ba talaga, Attorney?
Magandang tanong ulit, no? And yes, the public's point of view is valid because we cannot deny that certain senator judges truly are becoming disputatious or combative against the witnesses. They must be reminded that these persons have rights also. Their dignity must also be protected and they must be respected. Hindi yung parang nababastos na yung ating mga witnesses. Kasi nga, parang nakikipag-debate na or masyado nang nakikipag-argumento itong mga senator judges natin. And with all due respect, some senator judges even, wala namang kasensense yung mga tinatanong. As to the role of Presiding Officer Cheese Escudero, I was very vocal in praising him na napakagaling niyang presiding officer when it comes to the rules, and nung mga nakaraang linggo ay napaka-fair naman niya. However, dun sa nakaraang linggo, tama, I agree with your observation na tila baga nakakalimutan na yata ni Presiding Officer Cheese Escudero yung pagmamalabis ng ilang senador. I personally observed this. Yung kay Senator Bam Aquino, okay naman yung mga tanong niya pero pinahinto niya agad. However, as to the interjections of Senator Robin Hood Padilla, na irrelevant naman doon sa testimonya ni Wamil, as to the statement of Senator Bongo na mismong siya, parang nagiging witness na siya sa defense when in fact, he is a senator judge. Bakit hindi niya pinatigil agad? So this is a reminder to Presiding Officer Cheese Escudero to assess himself also as a presiding officer and do not be complacent para hindi siya mamarkahan na parang pumapanig siya sa depensa. Kasi lahat naman tayo halos ay nakapanood na napayagan niya na mag-interject ng ganoong pamamaraan yung ibang senator judges na in my humble opinion, lumabis na talaga, naging witness na si Senator Bongo, si Senator Robin Padilla, walang sense yung mga sinabi. So, forgive my honest observation.
At one point, Attorney, di ba sinabi pa ni Senator Cheese kay Attorney Wamil, do not argue with a senator judge kay Senator Amy.
There's slight reminders, di ba?
Yes.
Alright.
And, okay.
On that note, thank you so much for speaking to us. I wish we had more time. Attorney Jennifer Reyes.
Welcome.
It is the 14th day of the impeachment trial against Vice President Sara Duterte, and it is now underway. Let's watch this.
What is convenient or popular, but what is right, just, and faithful to the truth. Dear Lord, Father God, remind each of us that our duty is not to any individual, party, or faction. Our duty is to you, to the Filipino people, and to the Constitution. Give us the wisdom to weigh the evidence carefully, the fairness to listen with an open mind, and the courage to make decisions according to our conscience and the law. May truth prevail over rumor, facts over speculation, justice over politics. Let every proceeding be conducted with dignity, fairness, and respect for the rule of law. Dear Lord, protect our country from division and hatred. Give our people patience, discernment, and faith in the proper institutions of our republic. May your wisdom guide us, may your justice lead us, and may your truth prevail. Amen.
Amen. The clerk of court will now call the roll.
Roll call of members. Senator Judge Aquino. Senator Judge Cayetano Alan. Senator Judge Cayetano Pia. Senator Judge De La Rosa. Senator Judge Ejercito. Senator Judge Estrada. Senator Judge Go. Senator Judge Ontiveros. Senator Judge Lacson. Senator Judge Lapid. Senator Judge Legarda. Senator Judge Marcoleta. Senator Judge Marcos. Senator Judge Padilla. Senator Judge Pangilinan. Senator Judge Soto III. Senator Judge Tulfo Erwin. Senator Judge Tulfo Rafi. Senator Judge Villanueva. Senator Judge Villar Camille. Senator Judge Villar Mark. Senator Judge Zubiri. The presiding officer, Senator Judge Escudero. Senate President Gatchalian.
With 18 senator judges present, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. In accordance with the rules of procedure in impeachment trials, the chair now recognizes the duly elected presiding officer to preside over the proceedings of the impeachment court.
Thank you, Mr. Senate President. If there are no objections, we shall dispense with the reading of the Journal of the Senate Citizens and Impeachment Court dated August 5, 2026, and shall consider the same as approved. The court will please, the clerk of court will please call the case before the impeachment court.
Case number 004-2026 in the matter of impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Zimmerman Duterte.
Appearances of the parties.
Same appearance for the prosecution, Your Honor. We are ready.
Same appearance for the respondent, Your Honor. We're ready.
Thank you and good
Your
morning
Honor.
to the counsel for the parties. Yes, Honorable Chua. What is your pleasure?
Your Honor, I understand that this is a continuation of the examination of the prosecution's witness. May we request that Attorney Kapunan, counsel for the prosecution, be recognized, Your Honor, please.
Yes, Attorney Kapunan is recognized. Attorney Lorna and Attorney Christina, I understand that these to meet during the two rainy days that parang tumangkad ka, Lorna.
Oo nga po. Parang binigyan ako ng apple box dito.
Wala namang baha dito sa... Yes, I understand that the parties were not able to meet the last 2 days of last week, perhaps given the inclement weather, but the fact remains is you were not able to meet.
May I make manifestations, Your Honor?
Yes, Attorney Kapunan.
First of all, Your Honor, we, this honorable court and presiding officer, will note that when we broke off last Wednesday, it was very clear that prosecution through this representation made a motion, in fact modified the motion, that we be allowed to present the documents, 4,492 documents, before the honorable clerk of court. And for purposes of comparison, Your Honor, and this honorable presiding judge will recall that it did issue a directive to the parties to make themselves available on Thursday and Friday of last week, just mutually agreeing on a common time, Your Honor. Also, the clerk of court was directed to make themselves available either on Tuesday or Friday or both days, subject to a time agreed upon by both counsels for the petitioner and the respondent. Ito po ang nangyari, na indyan po kami. Why do I say that? Wednesday, we made a text message, and I have the text messages here. When do we meet? Tomorrow or Friday? Wala pong sagot nung Wednesday. On Thursday, we waited the whole day. Kailan tayo magmi-meet? Thursday na ngayon. Friday na bukas. Our witness will be on board on Monday. Wala pa rin sagot, Your Honor. The whole day of Thursday. At the end of Thursday, at the end of office hours, Thursday, Your Honor, and we have the evidence here, at 5:38, in the afternoon of Thursday, they texted, counsel for the respondent texted to say, we are available on August 14. This coming Friday, Your Honor, August 14, when napakalinaw naman sa directive ng presiding officer na mag-agree on a date on Thursday or Friday of last week. August 14, what good will that do us? The hearing is today, August 10, and they want us to appear before the clerk of court to compare documents on August 14. For what purpose, Your Honor? Now, the text message is even more disturbing because apart from saying sa August 14 na lang, they even disclaim the fact that this honorable court said Thursday or Friday last week. Wala naman daw sinabi ang presiding officer except to set a time, date, and time mutually agreed upon by the parties. That is bad faith, Your Honor, because sinabi ng presiding officer ang specific dates, Thursday or Friday last week. Wala daw sinabi ang presiding officer. And the presiding officer will recall that you left it to the parties, Your Honor, to agree on the time but not on the dates. Now we are told August 14. The clerk of court over the weekend also was waiting for notice from both parties. And we got a call from the clerk of court saying, walang sinabi sa amin except August 14. In a last attempt, Your Honor, in a last attempt for them, for counsels, for the respondent, this morning, as late as this morning, we approached them to say, we have 1 hour to go, let's start. And they said, again, they refused. They refused, no need daw, kasi pakitahan na lang ng summaries, etc. No need, Your Honor. Let me just say, Your Honor, that this attitude of the respondent is not new. We had the same attitude pre-trial pa lang. Ayaw na mag-stipulate. Why? Because daw, hindi faithful reproduction yung kopya nila tsaka yung kopya namin. Bakit hindi faithful reproduction? Because ang pinag-awayan, presiding officer, Your Honors, isa lang ang pinag-awayan, covering page. Covering page ng 4,492 documents na yan, ang pinag-awayan, covering page. And that's why they did not want to stipulate. So, Your Honors, if I may, we will necessarily have to go over very briefly this witness, briefly glossing over the documents and identifying her summary, her tabulation, pursuant to the presiding officer's suggestion, and we are invoking as well Rule 130, Section 7, and Section 3C on summaries and tabulations. We will do that, Your Honor. But,
I have a question, Counsel. Before I recognize Attorney Christine, Attorney Lorna, Attorney Wamil had a table and summary for the ARs for December 21 to 31, 2022, which was turned over to Ms. Eileen, so she can testify on that as well, given that it's official records. My question is, does she have a tabulation and or summary? Because apparently, Attorney Wamil did not, dahil hindi na rin niya inabutan yon ayon sa kanya, di ba?
Yes,
May
sure.
tabulation at summary ba si Ms. Eileen ng first to third quarter of 2023 ng OVP at DepEd confidential funds?
Yes, Your Honor. Our witness, Ma'am Sailin May Del Campo, does have a similar summary of all of the acknowledgement receipts, Your Honor.
Again, to clarify, covering the first to the third quarters
The
of
first-
2023 of both DepEd and OVP.
Yes, Your Honor. For the first quarter of the OVP, the second quarter, and the third quarter, Your Honor, that totals 1,823 acknowledgement receipts.
How many?
She has
1,000?
For the first quarter of February 6, March 29, 2023, covering 519 documents, our witness has a tabulation, Your Honor, a summary.
Second quarter of OVP.
For the second quarter, which is the period April 25 to June 30, 2023, covering 530 acknowledgement receipts, Your Honor, our witness also will be presenting a tabulation or a summary. And for the third quarter of the Office of the Vice President, our witness will be presenting a tabulation for the periods July 14, September 30, 2023, covering 774 documents, Your Honor, totaling 1,823. And she will confirm as well the tabulation made for the December 2022, 21 to 31, 22 tabulation of Attorney Wamil, consisting of 845 documents. So for the Office of the Vice President, this witness will be presenting and identifying 2,668 acknowledgement receipts. Likewise, Your Honor, if I may continue.
Counsel may, for the DepEd.
For the DepEd, Your Honor, for the first quarter, covering the period February 20 to March 30, 2023, our witness has a tabulation of 561 acknowledgement receipts. For the second quarter, covering the period April 25 to June 30, 2023, our witness has a tabulation of 619 acknowledgement receipts. And for the third quarter of the DepEd, covering the period July 14 to September 30, 2023, our witness will be identifying and as well the tabulation of 644 acknowledgement receipts, or for the DepEd, a total of 1,824 documents, which will bring us to 2,668 for the Office of the Vice President, 1,824 for the DepEd, totaling 4,492 documents, which counsel for the respondent refused, Your Honor, to stipulate on. We are now therefore constrained to present this witness and the tabulations before this honorable
She can
court.
testify based on the tabulation that she has, again, in accordance with the ruling of the chair, citing Rule 130, Section 3C, in relation to Section 7, which is an exception to the original document rule. Your comment, Attorney Christine, before
yes,
we
Your Honor.
proceed?
Just one more manifestation, Your Honor.
With the kind indulgence
In
of Attorney
addition
Christine.
to these tabulations, Your Honor, we will be presenting, but not identifying, we will be presenting folders containing these acknowledgement receipts so that the witness can flip over them, Your Honor. Just flip over them. And if counsel will say we are not given the opportunity first, they've been given the opportunity. They refused. And the reason being, number one, they don't have enough lawyers now. We heard on an interview that they did not have enough lawyers and could not schedule, could not follow the directive of the presiding officer. 15 lawyers for the defense, for the respondent. They did not have enough lawyers, nor the time to comply with the directive of this honorable presiding officer. Lastly, Your Honor, in any event, Your Honor, there is no denial of due process. They will have the opportunity when all of these documents are presented in a formal offer of evidence. That is their time to compare. That is their time to make their comments. That is their time to raise their objections, Your Honor, when it is formally offered in evidence, in due course. Thank you, Your Honor.
The chair notes the manifestation of Attorney Lorna and her point with respect to the respondent having the opportunity to comment once formal offer has been made is well taken. Attorney Christine, yes, your comment, ma'am?
Your
Before we
Honor,
proceed?
Yes, Your Honor, please. I would like to thank the good counsel for their willingness to explore or to implement Rule 130, Section 7. At least we have aligned with what we are expected to do before this honorable court. In fact, Your Honor, earlier this morning, I was asked by one of her partners about the comparison. And I actually told her partner, Attorney Lazaro, Attorney, we don't even need to compare the exhibits in order to expedite the proceedings. Because first of all, that's the authenticity of the exhibits is something for, it's no need for us to actually compare the exhibits just so we can arrive at a stipulation that this and that are the same. And also, Your Honor, with regard to the identification of the witness of the exhibits, that goes into the witness competence. Now, we did not stipulate here in open court that the witness is competent to identify the exhibits, Your Honor, kasi hindi naman ho namin kilala ho yung taga-COA. Pangalawa, we don't know the extent of her examination of the documents. Pangatlo, she just assumed the work of Mr. Wamil. So, mahirap naman po sabihin nun ng kliyente namin, sige, okay na, we payag na kami, she can identify the exhibit, she knows all of those, she has examined all of those. Precisely, that's the duty of the counsel to do in open court. Now, there's Rule 130, Section 7, and for those of you who are litigating before the CTA, you already know this rule, that a witness can testify based on a summary, and that would actually show that he's competent to testify on the exhibits by reason of the summary that she made. And that would attest that she has examined all of the documents that are contained in the summary. That's why yun po yung sinuggest ko sa counsel ng kabila. Sabi ko, we will not even object, attorney, as to how many exhibits you will identify or you will have as samples, kahit 10 per quarter or kahit 100 or kahit wala. Diba? If you check Rule 130, Section 7, hindi naman ho ni-require na isa-isahin ho yun. At hindi ho nire-require, Your Honor, na kailangan ho namin mag-stipulate on the exhibits, on the authenticity, so that they can use Rule 130, Section 7. And if properly done po, Your Honor, I think they can identify or they can finish all 1 quarter in less than 10 minutes. I'm talking about that, no? I'm talking about that based on experience. So, Your Honor, we don't object to their implementation of Rule 130, Section 7, as to the manner by how they will do it. We will also not object, but subject to cross-examination, Your Honor. Thank you.
The manifestation of Attorney Christine is noted. Chair will make a ruling so that we can move on.
May I just respond to this, Your Honor?
Ako na magre-respond para sa kanya. Asayo, Attorney Kapunan. The chair did make a ruling, issue an order for the parties to try to meet Friday or Thursday. However, for whatever reason, lack of lawyers or inclement weather, that did not happen. Chair would just like to correct, hindi ka Attorney Lorna ininjan, baka ginost ka. Kasi hindi ka sinagot eh. Pero hindi ka ininjan, wala namang pinag-usapan, date pa eh.
Inignore.
Ghost na nga eh. Ghost na yung bago ngayon. Hindi na. Ghost na yung bago ngayon.
Ghosting.
But having said that, the chair notes, because the chair also inquired, that given what happened in the pre-trial, wherein the copies of the exhibits marked by the respondent, no copies were retained by the court. So the chair would like to request the counsels for respondent to kindly furnish the court with a copy of the marked pieces of evidence during pre-trial, kasi apparently meron kaming pre-marked pieces of evidence from the prosecution, but not all the pre-marked pieces of evidence from the respondent. So in lieu of meeting, kindly just submit that, Attorney Christine, so that we can do the comparison ourselves, either as a court or through the individual senator judges.
We will comply, Your Honor.
Kindly do that within the day or at the latest tomorrow. If you have it with you, within the day. If not, at the latest tomorrow. So that whatever may happen, the court will already have a copy of these pre-marked documents. In relation to Ms. Eileen, As stated by Attorney Christine already, they will not object to the presentation of a table and/or summary citing Rule 130, Section 7 in relation to 3C. Therefore, we may proceed with her and hopefully be able to finish also Ms. Pareja today. Counsel, can you proceed?
Your Honor, please, can I just make a brief manifestation?
Yes, Attorney Kapunan.
While really, indeed, Section 7, Rule 130 is applicable, may we note that this summary, Your Honor, is being used to establish the rulings, the provision says, when the facts sought to be established is only the general result of the whole. So that summary will just establish the fact that these were the very same documents given by the defense counsel to the COA, Your Honor.
And that these were the very same documents or ARs used by the COA in coming out with the respective issuances that they did.
Yes,
to include
Your Honor.
the AOMs,
So
the notices of
therefore,
suspension, and the notice of disallowance.
if we can get that from, because we don't want to be held in ambush with subsequent witnesses who will use some portions of this acknowledgement receipts for subsequent witnesses, Your Honor, who we have subpoenaed for this impeachment proceedings, Your Honor. They might say, and I don't want to speculate, or I don't want to, anyway, ghosting ba yun? I don't want to anticipate the strategy, but we will have subsequent witnesses who will testify to specific acknowledgement receipts, Your Honor. And they might say, you did not identify them, you only identified the summaries. So, Your Honor, if we can get a stipulation now from counsel for the defense that when a acknowledgement receipt is presented through another witness, Your Honor, they will not object because precisely they stipulated that the summary...
Counsel, again, let's abbreviate the proceedings. That's always subject to cross.
Subject
if you
to
present
cross,
a
Your Honor.
document and their copy says otherwise, then they can confront the witnesses during cross-examination as to the difference of that document. But if not, then I guess they will skip crossing the witness on that point. As an implied admission that indeed the document she based it on or the document she testified on is indeed the same copy as what they do. But by that time, counsel, we will have a copy already of both documents and the court can
In
make
fact-
the appropriate ruling at the appropriate time.
One last, Your Honor.
Yes, Attorney Kapunan. Attorney Lorna.
We would have preempted. We would have saved this honorable court considerable time if they just agreed to use their documents. We don't need even this clerk of court, even the presiding officer, even the honorable judges don't need to make comparison. We are amenable to use the defense exhibits, Your Honor.
Attorney
Because
Lorna.
these exhibits, Your Honor.
Attorney Lorna, the chair considered that too when you made that manifestation. However, as I said, given the fact that we don't have a copy, I guess you don't have a copy too of their exhibits. So they
Can
would
I
have to sift through each and every exhibit marked with their own marking to look for, let's say, a particular name in the AR. So once we get the copy, we will furnish you with a copy, and you can use that copy if you wish at the appropriate time as well. So asking for a copy will solve many issues, Attorney Lorna. Attorney Christine, yes, you want to...
Quick reply, Your Honor. Actually, it doesn't matter if they will use our own exhibits, Your Honor. It doesn't even make their witness competent. That is why we are here in open court to establish the competence. So kahit pagamitin ho namin yung exhibit namin, kung hindi naman ho competent yung witness nyo to identify those exhibits, it will still be a waste of time. It will be useless.
Thank you for that, counsel. Let's now move on. Call your witness, Attorney Kapunan, Attorney Lorna. Clerk of Court is directed to kindly escort or assist Ms. Eileen May del Ocampo to the witness stand.
Your Honor, we'd like to call our witness, Ms. Eileen May L. del Campo.
Ms. Eileen, before you sit down, do you understand that you will be continuing with your testimony before this honorable impeachment court under the same oath that you made and was given when you last appeared, Wednesday ba? On Wednesday.
Yes po, Your Honor.
You may sit down, ma'am.
Thank you po.
And good morning. Attorney Kapunan, your witness, you may proceed with your cross. Again, sorry, with one more short reminder. You don't have to flip through the individual ARs anymore. We understand that, Attorney Kapunan. We will rely on her table and or summary for the meantime, unless there is a specific AR that you want her to identify and read for the record, then she may simply look at that particular one. But no need to flip through the entire 4,492 ARs just to show that she indeed prepared her table and summary based on the ARs. That is deemed understood already by the court. You may proceed, Attorney Laura.
With the permission of this honorable court, good morning. Good morning to the presiding officer, to the impeachment judges, and good morning, counsel.
Good morning.
And the respondent. Good morning, Madam Witness.
Good morning po.
Are you would you like to come closer to the mic? Parang nagkwekwentuhan lang tayo, no? Be comfortable, okay?
Apo.
Now, we will continue with where we broke off at the last hearing when you were here and we had preliminary questions, no? But I regret that I have to ask you again because just earlier, this counsel for the respondent is questioning your competence. Madam Witness, can you remind us again, how long have you been with the COA?
I have been with COA for the past 11 years. Actually po, magti 12 years na po.
As COA?
Yes po.
And what was your educational background, Madam Witness? Saan ka nag-aral?
I earned po my bachelor degree in Bachelor of Science in Accountancy from St. Louis University po.
At pagkatapos mo nag-graduate sa St. Louis University, saan ka nagtrabaho?
Ang una ko pong naging trabaho is as junior auditor sa isang private firm po sa Baguio City.
And after that?
After 2 years po, nag-apply na po ako sa COA at doon na po ako nag-start noong August 26, 2014.
August 26?
2014 po.
Okay. And earlier you said that you were in COA ICFAO, correct?
Yes po.
And what particular activity or duties did you have with this office?
Ang mga naging duties ko po sa COA ICFAO is first to conduct post-audit of the liquidation documents of various government agencies sa liquidation po nila sa Intelligence and Confidential Fund. And draft po an audit observation memorandum, notice of suspension or notice of disallowance po as may be warranted under rules and regulations on settlement of accounts. And after pong mag-respond nung agency, ako rin po ang nag-evaluate ng mga responses po sa mga AOM at notice of suspension.
So based on your narration, 11 years mo na ginagawa to? Nag-i-issue ng audit, observation, memorandum, notice of suspension, notice of disallowance, at pinag-aaralan rin ang mga response ng mga national agencies na covered ng Confidential and Intelligence Fund.
Yes po, tama po.
Tell us, Madam Witness, how many of these national agencies, local government units, public officials, have you conducted a post-audit?
Yung sa national government agencies po, more than 20 na. Sa local po, madami-dami na rin po, mga more than 50. Sa GOCCs naman po, mga less than 10, mga 5 to 10 po.
So more than 20 national agencies, tama? More
Opo.
than 30, 50 local government units?
Yes po.
And?
Mga GOCCs po, mga less than 10.
Okay. So when you took over, nung ikaw ang take over kay Attorney Wamil, nung February, when he retired or was transferred to another COA office in February 2024, you were then at that time also in COA ICFAO.
Yes po, tama po.
And ano naman ang participation mo, if any, dito sa pag-post-audit ng confidential funds ng Office of the Vice President at ng DepEd Secretary?
Sa Office of the Vice President po, ang naging participation ko po is dun sa for the period December 21 to 31, 2022, ako po ang nag-evaluate ng response nila sa notice of suspension. Doon naman po sa first to third quarters ng 2023, ako po ang nag-evaluate sa response nila sa mga audit observation memorandum. Sa DepEd naman po, ako po ang nag-evaluate ng responses nila para doon sa dalawang AOM for the first to third quarters of 2023.
Okay, Madam Witness, you took over the functions, or you took over yung mga in-audit ni Attorney Wamil. Are you aware na gumawa siya ng isang tabulation tungkol sa acknowledgement receipts for the last quarter of the Office of the Vice President, December 21 to 31? Are you aware na merong ginawang tabulation si Attorney Wamil?
Yes po, aware po ako sa tabulation ni Mr. Wamil.
If this tabulation is shown to you, and for purposes of identification, Your Honor, this has been previously marked in evidence as P-1-29 for the prosecution. Showing to you, Madam Witness, please go over this tabulation prepared, and may we ask permission for our Associate Attorney J. De La Cruz to be allowed to present this to the witness.
Assisting counsel of the parties may approach.
Just for the record, Your Honor, the witness is going over the tabulation submitted and marked by Attorney Wamil, and it is Exhibit P-1-29.
Noted and made part of the records.
Do you confirm, Madam Witness, that ito ang tabulation na sinubmit ni Attorney Wamil sa COA ICFAO office na minana mo sa kanya?
Yes po, ito po yung tabulation na kasama po doon sa mga documents na na-forward sa akin.
Okay. After you received these documents from Attorney Wamil through the office of the COA ICFAO, what happened next?
After po ma-issue yung notice of suspension sa OBP, nag-submit po sila ng response noong March 13, 2024 po.
Itong response na sinasabi mo, meron ka bang kopya? And if shown to you itong response ng Office of the Vice President, will you be able to identify the same?
Yes po.
Your Honor, for easy reference of the presiding officer and this impeachment court, may we ask permission to flash it in the screen, Your Honor?
Counsel may do so. You're referring to Exhibit P-1-13-B?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Respondents 1-120 OVP.
This is stipulated document, Your Honor.
You may proceed,
So
counsel.
the counsel for the defense is now looking at it. Madam Witness. Having gone over this document, Madam Witness, ito ba yung sinasabi mong letter response ng Office of the Vice President?
Yes po, ito po yung same copy ng response ng OBP sa notice of suspension.
I will now show you, Counsel, JVD. I will now show you the second page of this letter, Madam Witness, being flashed on the screen. Please look at the second page. In particular, we have what appears to be certain signatures, mga signature na nandyan sa second page ng response ng Office of the Vice President. If shown to you, Madam Witness, would you be able to identify the signatures?
Yes po.
Okay. There is a signature appearing on top of the name Attorney Zulaika Attorney Lopez. There is a signature appearing above the name Attorney Zulaika Lopez. Would you be able to identify that signature?
Yes po.
Bakit, Madam Witness?
Kasama po kasi doon sa sinubmit sa liquidation documents na nabigay sa akin, na turnover sa akin, yung list ng signatories po ng OVP.
At kasama ba doon ang signature ni Attorney Zulaika Lopez?
Yes po.
Okay. There is another signature here appearing atop the name Lemuel Ortonio. Please go over this signature and tell us if you are familiar. Nakikilala mo ba tong signature ng isang Ortonio sa dokumentong ito?
Yes po.
Why, Madam Witness?
Kasama din po ito doon sa list ng specimen signature na nasubmit po sa amin doon sa liquidation documents nila.
Okay. And pag alam mo, sino ba itong Attorney Zulaika Lopez?
Based po dito sa dokumento na to, siya po ang Chief of Staff ng OBP.
Okay.
Undersecretary po at Chief of Staff.
Ito naman Mr. Lemuel Ortonio. Sino naman itong Lemuel Ortonio na to?
Based po sa document, siya po ang Assistant Secretary and Assistant Chief of Staff.
Sa letter response na to, na-identify mo, may nakalagay, meron bang naka-attach dito sa letter response?
Yes po, nag-attach po sila ng list of 105 activities ng Office of the Vice President for the period December 13 to 31, 2022.
First quarter ng
Fourth quarter ng 2022. Specifically, December 13 to 31, 2022.
At if we show you this list of activities na inattach sa letter response, will you be able to identify this? We are flashing on
Yes
the
po.
screen, Your Honor, a list of activities which is an attachment to the letter response of the OVP, Exhibit P-1-13B, whereat yung listahan allegedly ng mga activities ng OVP ay naka-enumerate. Tell us, Madam Witness. Likewise, flash on the screen. Tell us, Madam Witness, ano ang significance nitong mga list ng activities na sinubmit ng Office of the Vice President sa kanyang letter response? Anong ibig sabihin nun? List of activities.
Ito po ay naging attachment nila as documents evidencing success of information gathering and or surveillance activities po na required po kapag nagkakaroon ng payment of rewards.
Anong period covered itong list of activities?
December 13 to 31, 2022 po.
And what ang observation, itong activities na nakalagay dyan ay prior to the receipt of the Office of the Vice President of its confidential fund. Ito ba ay kino-confirm mo?
Yes po, kasi yung cash advance po for 2022 po is for the period December 21 to 31, 2022.
At kailan na tinanggap ang cash advance?
December 21 po ang start.
Okay. Hindi ba ang ibig sabihin ng liquidation report, sinasabi mo kung ano yung mga pinaggamitan mo ng cash advance? Tama ba yan?
Opo, tama po.
Okay. And sa palagay mo, compliant ba to? Kasi post-audit compliance ba ito?
Based po sa
Base-
document,
yeah.
based po sa document na to, hindi po napakita dito na yung proof of success of the information gathering at may mga activities din po dito na from December 13, 15, 17, 18 na hindi po sakop dun sa period of utilization ng cash advance which is for December 21, 31, 2022.
So you mentioned a joint circular? Meron ka bang anong pinagbasihan mo kung bakit violation ito?
Under po kasi sa Joint Circular 2015-01, kapag po ginamit ang confidential funds sa payment of rewards, subject po ito sa 3 conditions.
Ano yung mga condition na yan?
First po, it should be approved by the head of agency. Pangalawa po, it should be supported with documents evidencing success of the information gathering and or surveillance activities on account of the information given by the informer. And yung last po is, it should be directly related sa confidential activities ng agency po.
Okay, so ano dyan sa requirements ang sinasabi mo hindi sinunod ng Office of the Vice President?
Ito po kasing listahan na to, sinabit nila as proof of success of information gathering to support the payment of rewards. Pero based po sa documents na to, hindi po namin nakita yung particular accomplishment.
Okay, nakalagay sa dokumento, examples ng activities ng Office of the Vice President for the confidential funds. Pakibasa nga for the record, no? Kasi tama ba yung basa namin, may tree planting, gift giving. Please read for the record, Madam Witness. Ano yung sinasabing pinaggamitan ng confidential funds?
Dito po sa December 13, 2022, Department of Education 2022 Partners Appreciation Night in Mandaluyong City, Metro Manila, December 15,
Sandali. Appreciation Night.
Opo.
Sa pagkaintindi mo, confidential activity ba yan? O nasa listahan ba yan
Your Honor.
ng confidential activities base sa joint circular?
Based po dun sa enumeration kung saan gagamitin ang confidential fund, hindi po ito nakasama doon.
Basahin mo pa yung iba. So hindi. Ano pa yung iba?
December 15, 2022, Knights of Rizal Supreme Council, 60th year of the Institute in Baguio City, Youth Campaign on Patriotism. Meron din po
Compliant ba to sa listahan?
Based po sa joint circular, hindi po ito nakasama dun sa mga activities po under 4.8 kung saan pwedeng gamitin ang confidential fund.
Basahin mo nga lahat ng activities na yan for the record at sabihin mo kung compliant ito. Kung ito ba mga activities ay pinapayagan bilang liquidation ng confidential funds.
Meron po dito December 17, 2022, Christmas activity in Happy Land, Tondo, Manila. Christmas activity and exploration meeting of Extension Office Barangay 101 in Tondo, Manila. Consultation with Barangay Chairman ng Manila in Manila. Pasasalamat and update meeting TODA in Barangay Batasan Hills, Quezon City. May mga activity po dito na pasasalamat, coordination meeting, may mga tree planting po, distribution of wheelchairs, gift giving, medical mission, at iba pong activities ng mga satellite offices po ng Office of the Vice President.
Sa joint circular na minention mo, can you remind us, ano ba talaga ang definition ng confidential funds?
Ang confidential fund po, ito po yung lump sum amount na nasa General Appropriations Act na gagamitin po for confidential activities po ng isang ahensya.
At itong binasa mo, tree planting, napakadaming Christmas party, napakadaming award ceremony, yan ba ay pinapayagan sa sinabi mong definition ng confidential funds?
Hindi po.
Hindi po.
With the indulgence of
Your
counsel.
Honor, please.
With the indulgence of counsel, Ms. Eileen, maliban sa hindi pinapayagan o pasok sa pwedeng paggastusan ng confidential fund, yung mga binasa po ninyo, yung gastos ay ginawa rin bago na encash yung cheque.
Kung based po sa document na ito, meron po kasing activities dito na from December 13 to 18 na hindi po sakop dun sa period of utilization based sa accomplishment report.
Labas doon. So, hindi posibleng gamitin yung perang na-release ng 21 para i-reimburse yun, kung tama man yung pinagastusan.
Yes po, kasi under the joint circular po, meron pong portion doon na hindi po pwedeng gamitin for reimbursement yung pondo ng
So,
confidential.
prospectively lang. So, yung mga activities na pwede lang ay 21 to 31.
Opo, tama po.
You may proceed, Counsel.
Dahil dito sa sinabi mong violation, wala sa period, no? Yung, as observed by the Honorable Presiding Officer. At dahil wala naman sa listahan sa joint circular kung saan pwedeng gamitin ang confidential funds, ano ang ginawa mo after that, if any?
After po evaluating the response ng OBP at saka po yung mga attachments neto, ako po ay nag-draft ng Notice of Disallowance at isinabit ko po ito sa aking Division Chief for her review.
If I will show you, pag pinakita sa iyo ang isang Notice of Disallowance for purposes of the record, Your Honor, this has been pre-marked as Exhibit P-1-13-C. Would you be able to identify it?
Opo.
Showing to you, Attorney De La Cruz will show it to you. Please go over this document and tell us if the relationship of this document to the notice of disallowance you have mentioned, and again, we are seeking permission to flash it for easy reference on screen.
Opo, yun po yung same copy ng Notice of Disallowance na inisyo namin sa Office of the Vice President.
Please look, Counsel, please look at this notice of disallowance. There is a signature there. On top of the name Nilda B. Plaras. Kanino pong signature ito?
Si Assistant Commissioner Nilda Plaras po ang officer in charge ng ICFAO nung ma-issue po ang dokumento na ito.
Anong ibig sabihin pag pinirmahan ng isang assistant commissioner ang isang notice of disallowance na draft mo?
Ito po is for release na po sa na-approve po niya kung ang laman nito at for release na po ito sa agency.
For release ng agency, okay. Tell us, Madam Witness, itong notice of disallowance ng COA ICFAO, yung recommendation mo at yung inapprove ng Assistant Commissioner for release, magkano ang disallowed ng COA ICFAO?
Ang disallowance po is 73,287,000.
Ano naman ang basis ng disallowance na to?
Ang disallowance po na to, binubuo po ito ng first, yung payment of rewards in the total amount of 69,787,000.
Before you proceed, Your Honor, please, this is being flashed on the screen. This is the first page of Exhibit P-1-13-C, which is the notice of disallowance identified by this witness. First page dyan, Madam Witness, ano ang breakdown or basihan ng iyong notice of disallowance?
Yung 73,287,000, ang bumubuo po dito is yung payment for rewards amounting to 69,787,000 plus yung 3.5 million for payments for tables and chairs, desktop computers, and printers po.
Dalawa ang amount na naka-indicate dyan. Bakit dalawang amount? Paki-explain.
Ito po ba yung sa number 1 na yung 69,587 at yung sa...
In number 1, in item number 1, if you can check your document on the screen, item number 1 sa notice of disallowance, dalawa ang amount na nakastate. Isa, 69,587,000 at yung isa ay 69,787,000. Ito ba ay typo, discrepancy? Bakit may hindi pareho itong amount?
Ito po ay isang typographical error po. Ang tamang amount po is 69,787,000.
Okay. Ngayon naman, Madam Witness, let us go to page 2, item number 2. Ano naman, pakibasa ang sinabi dito sa page 2, item number 2.
The notice of disallowance po is issued kasi yung pangalawang reason po is charging payment for tables and chairs, desktop computers and printers in the total amount of 3.5 million to confidential fund without specifying that they were intended for the confidential operations/activities undertaken by the OBP, non-compliant with the requirement of item 4.8.4 of the joint circular.
Ano yung item 4.8 ng circular na sinasabi mo?
Pwede po ba akong mag-refer para po sa joint circular?
With the
Your
permission.
Honor,
Witness may refer to the document.
thank you po. Based po sa item 4.8.4 ng Joint Circular, purchase or rental of supplies, materials, and equipment for confidential operations that cannot be done through regular procedures without compromising the information gathering activity concerned.
Okay. Bakit ito ay naging basehan ng disallowance nung tables and chairs na yan? Hindi ba confidential yon? Kung saan binili yung table and chair na yan, hindi ba confidential yon, Madam Witness?
Hindi po kasi nila in-specify na the payments for yung tables and chairs and desktop computers were used for confidential operations po. Wala po silang nasubmit na any explanation dun sa response po nila.
Kailangan ba mag-submit ng... Anong mga kailangan i-submit na dokumento by way of... para explain kung saan ginamit tong tables and chairs, laptop, tsaka... Anong hinahanap ninyo sa post-audit?
Dapat po mapatunayan nila na ito ay binili para po sa confidential operations ng ahensya.
At anong kailangan na dokumento?
And since this pertains po sa as purchases, dapat po supported ito ng either sales invoice or official receipts po.
Okay. Sa pag-evaluate mo nitong dokumentong sinabmit ng Office of the Vice President, meron ba yon mga official receipts, sales invoice na sinabmit?
Wala po.
Isa, dalawa, tatlo. Walang sinabmit, Madam Witness?
Wala pong mga resibo po.
Okay. Now, based sa iyong audit, sino-sino ang liable persons dito sa in connection with this notice of disallowance na binasa mo? Sino-sino ang mga persons na responsible or accountable dyan sa pinakita mo?
Ang mga persons po na liable or responsible is first po the head of agency, Vice President Sara Duterte, the Special Disbursing Officer, si Ms. Gina Acosta, at ang Chief Accountant po na si Ms. Julieta Villa del Rey.
Okay. Sa document na yan, pwede bang pakita mo yung mga pangalan na sinabi mo?
Nasa page 2 po.
Showing to you page 2, Madam Witness, and being flashed on the screen. Please tell us if these are the very same persons na sinabi mo na accountable.
Yes po.
Bakit sila accountable?
Unang-una po, yung si Vice President Sara Duterte po, siya po ang nag-approve ng transaction and including the utilization of the cash advance.
Saan nakalagay dyan na siya ang nag-approve?
Yun pong sa accomplishment report. And then, kay Ms. Gina Acosta naman po, dahil siya ang Special Disbursing Officer and she disbursed po the cash advance.
Ito namang Villa del Rey. Bakit sinasabi mo na accountable officer siya?
Nag-certify po siya dun sa backseat ng liquidation report na ang supporting documents are complete and proper.
Hindi ba nila ginawa ito? Yung mga sinasabi mo na kailangan sa joint circular?
Yes po.
Yes.
Kasi po yung participation nila sa transaction, kaya po sila nasama sa persons na liable po sa transaction na ito. Dahil first, si BP Sara bilang siya ang head of agency at siya po ang nag-approve ng transaction and utilization ng cash advance. Pangalawa po, ang naging participation po ni Ms. Gina Acosta is siya po ang special disbursing officer at siya po yung nag-disburse ng cash advance. At kay Ms. Julieta Villa del Rey naman po, sinertify niya na complete and proper yung supporting documents, pero hindi po complete and proper yung nasubmit po sa amin.
Okay. Madam Witness, nag-issue ang COA ICFAO ng notice of disallowance. What happened next, if any, kung maalala mo?
Noon pong February 5, 2025, nag-appeal po ang Office of the Vice President. Nag-file po sila ng petition for review sa Commission proper.
And do you know what happened to this petition for review?
Nung April 10, 2026 po, naglabas ng decision ng Commission proper at na-furnishan po ang aming office and in-affirm po nila yung notice of disallowance in the total amount of 73,287,000.
So yung petition for review, disallowed pa rin.
Noon pong lumabas yung decision ng Commission proper, in-affirm po nila yung disallowance.
Magkano yung disallowed ng Commission proper?
Same po sa nasa notice of disallowance namin, 73,287,000 po.
At ano naman ang ibig sabihin ng disallowed?
Ang notice of ang disallowed po is sa level ni ICFAO po kasi pag issue kami ng notice of disallowance, meron na po silang, we demand them to ibalik po yung pondo. Pero meron pong remedy, which is yung ginawa nila, nag-file sila ng petition for review po sa Commission proper.
At ano naman ang nangyari sa petition for review na yan?
Ayun nga po, nagkaroon ng COA decision na in-affirm po nila yung notice of disallowance.
Pagkatapos na in-affirm yung notice of disallowance ng Commission, ano ang ginawa? If at all?
Noong May 2026, meron po silang final na motion for reconsideration.
So nag-file ng motion for reconsideration ang Office of the Vice President. Anong nangyari sa motion for reconsideration na final? Tungkol dito sa decision na ibalik ang 73 million na yan. Ano ang status?
Wala pa pong naging decision ang Commission proper po. Pending resolution po.
Okay. Punta naman tayo sa first quarter and second quarter of 2023, which covers the Office of the Vice President's liquidation of confidential funds. What is your participation? Ano naman ang participation mo dito sa pag-evaluate ng liquidation expenses or documents na sinabit ng Office of the Vice President?
For anong period po?
For the first quarter of 2020, first and second quarters of 2023.
Ako po ang nag-evaluate ng response ng OBP sa Audit Observation Memorandum po na na-issue sa kanila for that period.
Yung dalang quarters, nag-issue ng Audit Observation Memorandum. Sino ang nag-issue?
Yun po, si Mr. Wamil po. Na-issue po yung AOM na yun nung time ni Mr. Wamil.
And if shown to you, this AOM, Audit Observation Memorandum dated February 2024. For the record, this is Exhibit P-1-13-E being shown to the witness and being flashed on the screen for easy reference. Will you be able, Madam Witness, to identify the same, Your Honor? For the record, this is a stipulated document.
Yes po.
Pagkatapos ng issuance nitong Audit Observation Memorandum, meron bang ginawa ang Office of the Vice President?
Nag-submit po sila ng response noong April 19, 2024.
Para saan itong response?
Response po nila sa AOM na na-issue po sa kanila for the first and second quarters of 2023.
And just to remind us, anong period covered ng first quarter?
It's for February 6 to March 29, 2023. At yung second quarter po, April 25 to June 30, 2023.
Okay. How many, Madam Witness, kung maalala mo, ilang, wait, I will withdraw the question. Ito ba sa response na sinubmit ng Office of the Vice President, ano ang mga naka-attach dito sa response na to?
Sa response po nila, nag-attach po sila ng acknowledgement receipts, certification ni Colonel Lachica at mga protective intelligence operations reports po.
Before we go to those documents na sinasabi mo, sa response being shown on the screen, there is on the second page, Counsel, will you show the second page? There is a second page, there is a signature appearing on the second page of the response. Whose signature is that appearing above the name Attorney Lopez?
Opo.
Kaninong signature yan if you know?
Kay Attorney Zuleika Lopez po.
At dito naman, above the name Mr. Ortonio?
Kay Mr. Limuel Ortonio po.
And you are familiar with these signatures for the same reasons you stated earlier?
Yes po, tama po.
Sa response na sinubmit ng Office of the Vice President, sinabi mo kanina meron mga acknowledgement receipts, no? If shown to you, a summary, these acknowledgement receipts, how many acknowledgement receipts were attached to the response for the first quarter of 2023?
Yung sa first quarter po ng 2023 is 519.
519 acknowledgement receipts. At sinabi mo kanina, this covers the period February 6 to March 29, 2023. Tama?
Opo, tama po.
Okay. Sa second quarter of 2023, ilan naman ang acknowledgement receipts ng sinubmit ng Office of the Vice President?
530 po.
So pag total number ng acknowledgement receipts for the first quarter and second quarter is how much?
1,049 po.
Okay. At Madam Witness, if shown to you these acknowledgement receipts or a summary, acknowledgement receipts. If shown to you certified true copies of these acknowledgement receipts, would you be able to identify the same?
Yes po.
By agreement with the Honorable Presiding Officer, Your Honor, in lieu of this witness glossing over or looking over the documents, but they are in front of her, Your Honor, we manifest that she has prepared a tabulation.
Yes,
Madam
as
Witness,
agreed to also by counsel for the respondent, the witness need not peruse individually and flip over, as the word used by counsel, these ARs, and may refer to her tabulation and her summary that she prepared with respect to, Ma'am Sailin, the first and second quarter of 2022 for the ARs, acknowledgement receipts, for the office of the Vice President. You may refer to your table and/or summary, ma'am, if you have one.
Your Honor, please, maybe also make the manifestation, Your Honor, for future witnesses, Your Honor. This should not dispense with our future witnesses being able to identify, to use and to identify certain acknowledgement receipts, Your Honor,
Without
which are
prejudice-
part of the summary or tabulation.
Without prejudice to the reservation of counsel, the court will allow it. Ms. Eileen or Attorney Lorna, can you kindly give us a copy? Because that is not yet a marked document, right?
Your Honor, for the record,
That is not
We
a
are
pre-marked
handing over-
document, rather. The table.
This summaries, Your Honor, hindi po ito pre-marked, but we are now giving a copy to the Honorable Presiding Officer and to counsel for the respondent.
Yes, kindly do so. The clerk of court is instructed to reproduce the copy to be able to give each center judge with a copy of the table or summary. Pakikuha na lang. Pa-photocopy natin para sa
For the record, Your Honor, while our witness is perusing this document, we have given a copy of what she is going over both to the presiding officer through the clerk of court, Your Honor, and to the respondent's counsel. And again, for the record, this is for the first quarter, February 6, March 29, 2023, consisting of 519 documents in that summary, and second quarter of the Office of the Vice President, covering the period April 25 to June 30, 2023, consisting of 1,049 documents, Your Honor, total for both quarters. And, Your Honor, we will be requesting through the clerk of court, Your Honor, at some time, that this be marked as exhibit, the tabulation being identified by the witness be identified for the first quarter as P-1-30-Q-1 and series. And the tabulation for the second quarter be marked as Exhibit P-1-31-Q and series, Your Honor.
The aforementioned tabulations and their summaries are hereby ordered to be so marked by the clerk of court at the appropriate time.
We have selected for the first and second quarter, Your Honor, we have selected, for better appreciation of the Honorable Presiding Judge and our Senator Judges, Your Honor, we have selected certain acknowledgement receipts which we request be shown to the witness
Assisting counsel
when
may
she
approach.
is done. Madam Witness, just look at the summaries, please. You confirm that these summaries uh, marked in evidence now are yours.
Yes po.
Now, tell us, walk us through, anong proseso ang ginawa mo sa paggawa mo ng mga summary na to?
During the evaluation po, I tabulated po yung acknowledgement receipts dun po based sa date kung kailan sila na-execute, the expense, and the amount po. Kaya ang nakalagay po sa tabulation ko is the date, the amount, and the expense po.
Yung pangalan?
Hindi ko na po na-tabulate yung sa names.
Okay, so nakalagay dyan yung amount, yung date,
and yung expense po.
At yung expense. But if I show to you certain acknowledgement receipts, which were part of the documents that you said were turned over to the COA ICFAO office, would you be able, pag pinakita sa'yo certain acknowledgement receipts na parte, na nasa part ng tabulation or summary mo, would you be able to identify the same?
Yes po.
Okay, I'll show you now. And with the kind permission of this honorable court, we have chosen certain acknowledgement receipts to be flashed on the screen, Your Honor, and being shown to the witness. Marked as Exhibit P-1-8-1418 is a certain Pia Piato Slim. Could you read the date, Madam Witness?
Dito po is
Can you
May 17.
please speak louder? Speak to the mic.
May 17, 2023, na-receive po ni Pia Piato Slim.
Para saan ito, allegedly?
For the purchase of information po.
Okay. And may signature dyan sa ilalim. Whose signature is this at the bottom?
Ito po is signature po ng admin staff namin sa ICFAO.
Who is your admin staff in ICFAO?
Si Mr. Davin E. Bakay po.
David Bakay.
Davin E. Bakay.
Yeah. And that is his signature, administrative. Ano ang significance nitong C9 ng administrative staff ninyo, ang acknowledgement receipts?
Pinapatunayan po nitong certification na ito po yung copy na sinubmit sa amin ng OBP na nasa file po.
Pinapatunayan na ang binabasa mo ay kasama sa binigay ng respondent.
Yes po, kasama po ito sa binigay sa amin na acknowledgement receipt in response po sa AOM.
So yung summary ng acknowledgement receipts for the first quarter and second quarter ng Office of the Vice President consisting of 1,049 separate acknowledgement receipts. Sabihin mo nga sa amin kung meron similar signature ang all other acknowledgement receipts ni Mr. Davin Bakay.
Yes po, dun po sa mga acknowledgement receipts na ito is lahat po sinertify ni Mr. Bakay na ito po ay mga kopya ng acknowledgement receipts na sinubmit po sa amin ng OBP.
Punta naman tayo sa P-1-8-1483. Pangalan ng... Please read for the record.
Acknowledgement receipt. This is to acknowledge receipt of the amount of 150,000 pesos for the purchase of information received by Ralph Josh Bacon on June 20, 2023.
Bacon. Okay. Alas 12 na, gutom na tayo. Yung susunod na pangalan, mukhang P-1-8-928. Pakibasa for the record.
Acknowledgement receipt. This is to acknowledge receipt of the amount of 50,000 pesos for the purchase of information received by Ann Ong Pauco, date March 20, 2023.
Okay, next. P-1-8-1015. Pangalan ni Heart Santiago. Pakibasa. Bumili siya ng supplies.
This is to acknowledge receipt of the amount of 250,000 pesos for the purchase or rental of supplies, materials, and equipment for confidential operations, open and close parentheses, payment for the purchase of supplies received by Heart Santiago, date Feb 27, 2023.
Kanina, Madam Witness, merong ungpaw ko tsaka merong heart. Tinanong mo ba kung sino ito at kung related sila sa presiding officer natin?
Hindi po.
Hindi naman. Bakit hindi? Bakit hindi ka nag-verify ng mga pangalan? May pagkain na bacon, may parang kamag-anak ni Hart. Why did you not verify the names in this 1,049 acknowledgement receipts?
Sa ICFO po kasi ang ginagawa namin is compliance audit po.
Ano ibig sabihin nun?
I-check po namin kung compliant ba sa joint circular at kompleto at proper ba yung mga liquidation documents po na sinasubmit sa amin in relation po sa provisions ng joint circular.
Okay. Sinabi mo kung proper ba. Ito bang payment of purchase of supplies, proper ba yan sa paggamit ng confidential funds?
Yung payment for supplies po, kasama po siya doon sa enumeration kapag payment for supplies na ginamit po sa confidential operations.
At sinabi mo earlier, dapat yung mga sinasubmit may kasamang sales invoice at mga kasamang purchase documents. Meron bang kasama? Dito sinubmit ni Ms. Hart.
Wala po.
Wala. P-1-8-1807, Fiona Villegas. Pakibasa.
Acknowledgement receipt. This is to acknowledge receipt of the amount of 500,000 for the purchase or rental of supplies, materials, and equipment for confidential operations. Open and close parentheses, purchase of provision of medical and food aid.
Yeah. Nakalagay purchase of medical and food aid. Ito ba ay isang ayon sa pinapayagan na paggamitan ng confidential funds?
Base po dito, nakalagay po na it's for the purchase of supplies na naka-open and close po, provision of medical and food aid.
P-1-8, 1466. Kamag-anak ata to ni Senator Bong Revilla. Beth Revilla, 50,000. Purchase of information. Ang purchase of information ba ay allowable expense?
Yes po, under 4.8.1 po, kasama po ang purchase of information.
Kung kasama, bakit mo disallow itong purchase of information?
Hindi po ito kasama dun sa na-disallow po.
Ito?
Hindi
Okay.
po.
Balik naman tayo sa P-1-8-1220. Kamag-anak naman to ni Senator Risa Ontiveros. Clarice Ontiveros, please read the amount.
This is to acknowledge receipt of the amount of 500,000 for the purchase or rental of supplies, materials, and equipment for confidential operations, open and close parentheses, purchase of provision of medical and food aid.
At again, disallowed ito?
Kasama po ito dun sa na-disallow po kasi humingi pa, based on this acknowledgement receipt, we cannot ascertain, hindi ko po ma-ascertain if this is for really nabigay for purchase of medical and food aid, kaya humingi pa po ako ng additional documents.
Nabigyan rin itong Jose Jokno Jr. Kamag-anak ba to ni Public Prosecutor, Madam Witness? Binerify mo ba? Can you look at P-1-8-1482? Nagbigay ng information itong Jokno. Kapangalan Jose Jokno Jr. Baka anak ni Congressman. Hindi mo tinanong kanina nung dumaan ka dyan?
Hindi po.
Hindi. Okay. Ito naman, 1-8, P-1-8-994. Kamag-anak naman ni Senator Lapid. Diane Maple Lapid, na tumanggap ng 150,000 pesos na bumili daw ng supplies. Pakibasa for the record.
This is to acknowledge receipt of the amount of 150,000 pesos for the purchase or rental of supplies, materials, and equipment for confidential operations.
Bakit? Sorry, go ahead.
Open and close parentheses, payment for the purchase of supplies received by Diane Maple Lapid on Feb 17, 2023.
Bakit naman naka-disallowed itong expense na to?
Gaya po yung sa provision and medical and food aid, based on this acknowledgement receipts po, hindi po ma-ascertain kung this is really given for the purchase of supplies, kaya nanghihi po ako ng additional documents po.
Meron na naman, not once, but for the second time, Lapid family, John A. Lapid Jr., tumanggap ng 350,000 pesos. Can you read for the record? P-1-8, 1735.
Acknowledgement receipt. This is to acknowledge receipt of the amount of 350,000 pesos for the purchase or rental of supplies, materials, and equipment for confidential operations, open and close parentheses, purchase of provision of medical and food aid, received by John A. Lapid Jr., date May 3, 2023.
Madam Witness, apart from these selected acknowledgement receipts, the total for the first quarter and the second quarter of the Office of the Vice President are similar acknowledgement receipts for purchase of medical and food aid, pambili daw ng supplies, pambili ng iba-iba pa. Ano ang masasabi mo sa mga expenses na ito?
Nung in-evaluate ko po, kasama po siya dun sa naging findings ko at hinihingan ko po ng additional documentation to ascertain po na these are paid na pinambili po ng supplies at medical and food aid.
Okay, nung sinabi mo humingi ka ng additional information or documents, nag-submit ba ang Office of the Vice President para patunayan talaga na itong medical, grocery, etc. tables talagang ginamit sa confidential funds?
Kasama po ito dun sa notice of disallowance, and yung notice of disallowance po is within the prescribed period pa po sila para mag-comply.
Nag-comply ba sila?
Wala pa po silang naging action after ma-receive nila ito.
So despite na binigyan ninyo ng COA, ICFAO, ng opportunity para mag-submit ng additional documents para mapatunayan nila or mag-explain man lang bakit nandiyan ang mga pangalan na yan. At bakit walang mga resibo na inattach para pag-liquidate. Nag-submit ba ang Office of the Vice President ng additional documents after this notice of disallowance?
Dahil nga po nabanggit ko na naging notice of disallowance po ito, ang remedy po nila is to appeal po sa commission proper, and nandun pa po sila sa period to appeal po sa commission proper.
Okay. Ngayon, what other meron pa bang ibang dokumento na sinubmit ang Office of the Vice President na sinama sa response nila?
May to support po the payment of rewards, nagsubmit po sila ng certification ni Colonel Raymond Dante Pilachica together with the Protective Intelligence Operations Report.
If shown to you, will you be able, kung pakita sa iyo itong document, Exhibit P-1-12-G, isang certification dated April 4, 2024, stipulated document with the defense, Your Honor. Please identify the same. Also being flashed on the screen.
Yes po, ito po yung certification na naka-attach sa response ng OBP.
Correction, Your Honor, it's not stipulated. What relation does this certification to the one you mentioned?
Ito po yung same certification na naka-attach po sa response ng OBP.
Ano naman ang significance? Anong significance nitong certification na sinubmit nila?
Ito po ay isinabit nila to support po the payment of rewards. Under po kasi sa joint circular, pag may payment of rewards, dapat po subject ito sa 3 conditions. And kasama po yun yung documents evidencing success of the information gathering and or surveillance activities.
Nung nag-testify dito si Attorney Wamil, sinabi niya nung tinanong siya ng prosecution, ito ba ay compliant? At ang sagot niya ito ay pro forma. Copy-paste ang sinabi ng prosecution. Kino-confirm mo ba yan na ito ay parang annex?
Ito pong certification na to, hindi po to kasama doon sa annexes sa joint circular. Ang sinasabi po niyang certification is yung certification ng accountable officer. Yun po yung kasama sa annexes sa joint circular.
So ano nga ang significance nitong certificate, if you know?
Ito po yung sinubmit nila para po as proof of success of the information gathering and surveillance activities po to support the payment of rewards.
Okay. Together with this, meron rin sinubmit, earlier you mentioned, ang Office of the Vice President ng tinatawag na Protective Intelligence Operation Reports o tinatawag PIOR na inattach nila sa response. If shown to you, Madam Witness, will you be able to identify these PIORs?
Yes po.
For the first and second quarters of the Office of the Vice President. Yeah. For the record, Your Honor, this Protective Intelligence Operations Reports, or PIORs, have been marked in exhibit, pre-marked as P-1-12-H up to P-1-12-H-9 and exhibits P-1-12-M-1 up to P-12-M-13 for the prosecution.
Which for the record is 1-115 OVPN series for the respondent. Correct, Attorney Christine?
Yes, Your Honor.
Noted. Please proceed, Counsel.
Thank you, Madam Witness. You're still at it. As correctly noted by the presiding officer, Your Honor, although this witness is taking time, these are also pre-marked documents of the defense, Your Honor. Although they, again, refuse to stipulate on the same. Permission to sit down, Your Honor.
Sure, Attorney Lorna.
It's too high.
While we are waiting, Chair would like to inform the senator judges and the parties that we will be pausing for lunch break at 12, regardless of where we are, since clearly we might not be able to finish with the direct before 12. So kung saan man tayo abutan, hanggang dun lang din po tayo, and we'll continue after lunch.
Your Honor, we will be able to finish before lunchtime with the Office of the Vice President.
Yes.
And,
But not with the witness, Counsel.
Not with the witness, and after lunch, Your Honor, with the DepEd.
Yes.
Because of
Understood.
the...
Attorney Christine, you can also sit down if you want to.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Attorney Lorna, next time you can provide either a high chair for you so that you can sit while...
Your Honor, I think the Office of the Clerk misunderstood. I asked for a high chair. They gave me a high podium, Your Honor. Which is making
The
it more
clerk of
difficult,
court is so directed. I think it's more convenient to have a high chair.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
I'd rather call it a high chair, Attorney Kapunan, than a bar stool.
With due respect, Your Honor, are more familiar with bar stools.
I would know. I would have thought, Counsel. Yes, Miss Eileen. Are you just about done, ma'am?
Yes po, Your Honor.
Are you ready, Miss Eileen?
Yes po, Your Honor.
Thank
Attorney
you,
Lorna,
Madam.
you may proceed.
With the permission of this Honorable Court. Thank you, Madam Witness. You have gone over PIORs or Protective Intelligence Operations reports, which were attached to the Office of the Vice President's response for the first and second quarter of 2023. Madam Witness. Sa tinignan mong reports na yan at na-evaluate mo na reports na yan, ano ang mga observation mo?
Doon po sa Protective Intelligence Operations Reports, ito po ay inattach nila kasama yung certification as documents evidencing success. And based po sa aking evaluation ng mga PIORs, ang nakalagay po rito is ang date and locations ng mga engagement ng Vice Presidents, kasama na din po yung mga satellite offices nila. Nakalagay din po dito yung probable threats dun sa mga activities na ito, pati na rin po yung narratives ng timeline of events magmula sa planning stage, actual operation, and post-operation. Pero during the evaluation po ng documents na ito, hindi ko po nakita yung particular accomplishments po na magwawarrant sa payment of rewards.
Bakit sinabi mo na napakahaba ng mga dokumentong to? Bakit sinabi mo nung na-evaluate mo ay hindi mo nakita yung hinahanap mo o yung kailangan kasama nito sa mga dokumentong ito? Bakit, Madam Witness?
Under po kasi sa joint circular, yun nga po, sa payment of rewards, it should be supported with documents evidencing success. Pero based po sa mga documents na to, ang nakalagay lang po dun sa certification is a general statement that there were no untoward incidents dun sa mga engagement ng Office of the Vice President together with the implementation ng programs. Pero hindi po ito naging sapat.
Ano-ano itong mga programs na sinasabi nila na pinaggamitan ng confidential funds? Wala ka bang nakita dito sa mga sinubmit na kadami-daming mga dokumento? Anong specifics nitong activities allegedly na pinaggamitan?
May mga activities po sa mga meetings, mga attendance po sa mga festival, ganun po. Tsaka yung mga engagement din po ng satellite offices.
Hindi ba qualified to? Hindi ba allowed ito? Yung mga nagmi-meeting? Paano mo malalaman? How can you ascertain that these meetings are indeed to discuss confidential activities?
Kasi po ang nakalagay lang po dun is kung ano yung mga activity na inattendan doon po ng Vice President. Kasama na rin po yung mga programs ng mga satellite offices niya, pati po yung libreng sakay program ng OBP.
Libreng sakay program?
Opo, kasama po dun sa PIORs.
Hindi ba ito confidential? Yung libre na sakay na yan?
Hindi po.
Ano pa yung mga activities ng satellite offices na sinasabi mo na hindi naman tamang paggamit ng confidential funds?
Yung mga, hindi ko, pwede po mabalikan yung...
Assisting Counsel may approach.
Dito po sa sa satellite office po nila sa Bacolod, ang nakalagay po rito na activity nila is provided rice box to Morsha fire victims.
Sandali. Rice box to
Morsha
fire victims.
Fire victims.
Baka confidential ang rice victims na yan, Madam Witness.
Tapos tupad beneficiaries at BCNHS.
Can you speak to the mic, please?
Tupad beneficiaries at BCNHS GYM, Dole, Tupad payout May 1, 2023, 198 recipients, daily wage for 50, a total of 841 cash disbursed 10 days.
Mga tupad beneficiaries, linista dyan, kung magkano.
Ito po yung mga naging activity po dun sa
So
Bacolod
rice
satellite.
giving, tupad activities, ano pa?
Medical mission po.
Medical mission.
Release of rice boxes to beneficiaries in Sebastian Antique. Visited MAIPP hospitals and provided GLs at billing accounting offices to get a copy of SOA. Yun.
With the indulgence of counsel, Ms. Eileen, these are the activities na sinasabi nilang kinover ng intelligence operations?
Ito po yung inattach nila as proof of success of the information gathering.
Ng activities nga.
Opo.
Not that ginamit yung confidential fund sa pagbigay ng bigas, not that ginamit yung confidential fund sa pagbigay ng tupad, not that ginamit yung confidential fund sa MAIP.
Opo. Bale po, ito yung naging activities ng Vice President po. Pero hindi po yung confidential fund yung ginamit dito.
Na naging ligtas siya, ika nga.
Opo,
base
parang
sa protective
conducted
activities.
surveillance activities po sa mga programang ito.
Okay. You may proceed, Counsel.
Again, para sa record, itong mga activities daw, yung mga rice giving, yung mga tupad na yan, doon siya nag-conduct ng surveillance activities. Yung bang sinasabi mo, Madam Witness?
Ang nakalagay po kasi dun sa certification, nag-conduct siya ng confidential surveillance activities before, parang ang pagkakaintindi ko po dito is yung nag-conduct sila ng surveillance activities before the engagement of the Vice President po. Parang
At sinabi mo na kasama to sa notice of disallowance?
Opo, kasi hindi napapakita ng mga dokumentong ito kasama yung certification na there was success in the information gathering and surveillance activities. Kasi yung statement lang po is there were no untoward incidents. Hinahanap ko po kung ano yung...
Pag sinabing, Madam Witness, pag sinabing there were no untoward incidences, hindi ba evidence of success yun? Walang yung mga komunista, yung mga terorista, imbis na nag-away-away, tumanggap na lang ng rice pack, tumanggap na lang ng tupad. Hindi ba success yun? Hindi sila nag-away-away?
Ang hinahanap ko po kasi dito, sample po doon sa isang activity is nakalagay probable threat, CTG, parang gano'n, NPA po. Ang hinahanap po kasi is payment of rewards. Meron bang dun sa probable threat na yun, may nahuli ba? Parang ganun po. Yun ang magwa-warrant ng payment of rewards po.
At wala kang ganon
Yun po ang
na
hindi
nakita
hindi
sa
po
evaluation mo, Madam Witness.
Opo.
Going now to the third quarter of 2023, covering the period July 14 to September 30, 2023. Anong participation mo, if any, Madam Witness, dito sa pag-audit ng liquidation documents na sinubmit ng Office of the Vice President?
Ako po ang nag-evaluate ng response nila sa audit observation for the third quarter po ng 2023.
At Madam Witness, ano ang nangyari, if any?
Nung may issue po yung audit observation memorandum noong August 8, 2024, nag-submit po ang OBP ng response nila noong August 27, 2024.
If shown to you, the AOM, yung Audit Observation Memorandum, this is a stipulated document, Your Honor. Stipulated with the former witness, Attorney Wamil. With you. What is the relation of this AOM dated August 8, 2024, marked as
Counsel for the
Exhibit
assisting counsels may approach.
P-1-12-I for the prosecution and stipulated upon in the last hearing with defense counsel.
As respondents exhibit 1-106 OVP.
Correct, Your Honor.
This is the same copy po of the AOM na na-issue namin sa OBP.
Now, showing to you, and it's being flashed on the screen as it's being shown to you. Sa last page, pakitingin sa last page, merong signature dyan over the name Nilda Plaras. Whose signature is this?
Si Assistant Commissioner Nilda Plaras po ang officer in charge ng ICFAO nung ma-issue po ang dokumento na ito.
Anong ibig sabihin na pumirma ang isang Nilda Plaras na Commissioner Associate? Assistant Commissioner ng COA ICFAO.
Ito po ay na-review at na-approve niya and is ready for release na po.
Okay. Ano, if at all, ang mga findings or issues na rinaise mo na in-approve naman ng Assistant Commissioner Ano-ano yung mga issues na nakalagay dyan sa AOM or Audit Observation Memorandum, Madam Witness?
Ang mga issues po dito sa Audit Observation Memorandum na ito is first, the submitted liquidation documents po. Wala pong naka-attach na documentary evidence of payments.
Your Honor, we request permission to flash this on the screen.
Counsel Medusa.
Yung pangalawa naman po, yung payment of rewards na nagkakahalaga ng 35 million were not supported with documents evidencing success. Pangatlo po, yung physical and financial plan, hindi po nakaspecify yung specific confidential activities. At yung pang-apat po, yung box E ng disbursement voucher, kung saan makikita yung receipt of payment ng SDO ng cash advance ay hindi po napirmahan.
Bakit itong apat na findings na pinakita natin ngayon, bakit hindi compliant ito at linigay ninyo sa notice sa AOM?
Yung sa una po, under the joint circular po, dapat po ang disbursement for confidential fund should be supported with documents evidencing payments po.
At
hindi po ito na-submit sa amin, kaya po hiningi namin sa AOM.
yung pangalawang finding na sinabi mo,
Yung pangalawa naman po, yung payment of rewards under the joint circular, under item 4.8.5.b, it should be supported with documents evidencing success. Pero dun sa initial submission po nila, walang naka-attach na documents evidencing success to support the payment of rewards.
at yung pangatlong finding, bakit nasa AOM ninyo ito?
Kasi po yung sa physical and financial plan po nila, hindi nakaspecify kung ano yung confidential activities na paggagamitan na magiging basis po ng disbursement ng confidential fund.
At Madam Witness, lastly, yung findings mo, yung pang-apat, bakit sinasabi nyo na bakit sinama to sa Audit Observation Memorandum?
Yung box E po kasi ng disbursement voucher, kung saan pumipirma yung SDO pag na-receive niya yung cheque is wala pong pirma yung Special Disbursing Officer.
After you issued this AOM, anong ginawa, if any, ng Office of the Vice President?
After nilang ma-receive itong Audit Observation Memorandum, nag-submit po sila ng response noong August 27, 2024.
And if shown to you, pag pinakita sa iyo itong response dated August 27, 2024, would you be able to identify the same?
Yes po.
Your Honor, please, witness is looking at Exhibit P-1-12-J. Again, despite this being the response of the Vice President herself, Counsel for the Defense did not stipulate on this document.
But they marked it as Exhibit 1-116 OVPN series, correct, Counsel?
Correct, Your Honor.
Proceed, Counsel.
Who signed this response, if you know?
Si Attorney Zuleika T. Lopez at si Mr. Limuel G. Ortonio po.
Again, Madam Witness, you are familiar with the signatures for the same reason you stated?
Yes po. Kasama po ito dun sa specimen signatures na naka-attach po sa liquidation documents.
Dito sa response ng Office of the Vice President, meron bang mga dokumento na sinama dito sa response na to?
Yes po.
Ano-ano itong mga documents?
Nag-submit po sila ng acknowledgement receipts as documents evidencing payments. Tapos, to support po the payment of rewards, nagsubmit sila ng certification ni Colonel Raymond Dante Pila Chica together with the Protective Intelligence Operations Report. At yung panghuli pong attachment ay yung warrant register.
Okay. By agreement and upon direction of the presiding officer, we will be marking instead a tabulation of these acknowledgement receipts for the period July 14 to September 30, 2023, representing the third quarter liquidation, alleged liquidation expenses of the Office of the Vice President. Without, of course, without prejudice to the right to our opportunity to present them at the appropriate time, separately to the appropriate witnesses in the future, Your Honor.
Duly noted.
Madam Witness, if you are shown acknowledgement receipts, Would you be able to identify them?
Yes po.
We will not show them now, but did you prepare, if at all, tabulation or summary of these acknowledgement receipts for the third quarter?
Yes po, meron po akong tabulation.
Would you please show them to us? We have copies, Your Honor, of these tabulations or summaries. And for the record, we're giving the Honorable Presiding Officer and counsel for the respondent copy of the summaries. Madam Witness, these summaries that you prepared, tell us the process involved. Ano-anong ginawa mo? Paano ka nakarating sa mga tabulation o summary na yan?
Nung ma-receive ko po yung documents na sinubmit kasama po ng response, in-encode ko po yung mga acknowledgement receipts na naglalaman po ng disbursement nila by date.
Good morning, I'm Pauline Verzosa, and here are the latest stories at this hour. The Senate Impeachment Court resumes Vice President Sara Duterte's trial after yesterday's suspension due to heavy rains. And today on day 14, 18 senator judges were in attendance. And today's hearing began with prosecution counsel attorney Lorna Kapunan making a manifestation before the Supreme Court, saying that the defense panel failed to comply with the presiding officer's directive last week to meet on Thursday and Friday to compare their documents after the defense refused to stipulate on certain acknowledgement receipts. Now, defense counsel attorney Christine Ferrer said there is no need to compare the OVP and DepEd ARs or the acknowledgement receipts, as the impeachment court will determine their authenticity after the prosecution submits its offer of evidence. Now, nonetheless, COA State Auditor Sailin Del Campo still testified and returned to the witness stand for the prosecution because she based her testimony instead on a tabulation or a summary of the 4,492 acknowledgement receipts of the OVP and the DepEd. Del Campo said the Office of the Vice President also failed to prove the success of its information gathering activities based on the documents it submitted to the Commission on Audit. And she also enumerated earlier activities where the OVP reportedly used its confidential funds from December 21 to 31, 2022, which include Christmas activities in Tondo, Manila, a meeting with TODA members in the Batasan, in Quezon City, tree planting activities, wheelchair distribution, and gift giving. But according to Del Campo, these activities are not compliant with the Joint Memorandum Circular. They are not part of the list of allowed activities for confidential funds. Now, Del Campo also said that there were no receipts or sales invoices to support the purchase of chairs and tables, nor documents showing that they were bought for confidential activities. And she added that Vice President Sara Duterte is among those potentially liable for the 73.28 million peso disallowance involving the OVP. Now, day 14 of Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment trial is now underway. For the latest, mobile journalist Merimon Reyes will give us a recap. Hey, Merimon, so what happened earlier in today's proceedings?
Pauline, as of sa last testimony ni State Auditor Sailin Del Campo, ang sinasabi nilang kabuuan na amount doon sa Notice of Disallowance na in-issue ng Commission on Audit sa Office of the Vice President ay 73.287 million pesos. And binubuo ito ng payment of rewards sa 69.7 million pesos and yung purchasing nga ng tables, chairs, desktop computers, and printers na 3.5 million pesos. Ang concern kasi dito ng sinasabi, kaya na-flag ulit ito pagdating sa compliance audit ng COA is either walang enough or sufficient documentary or evidence to prove na nagkaroon ng success doon sa information gathering and surveillance activities ng OVP na pinaggastusan ng confidential funds, o di kaya naman ay hindi ito pasok sa pwedeng paggastusan ng confidential funds according sa Joint Circular 2015-01. And ang isa sa tinitingnan din dito, yung sa December 21 to 31, 2022 na cash advance ng OVP, may nilista silang mga activities, supposedly confidential activities, na ang dates ay December December 13 to 18, 2022. So doon pa lang, flag na ito dahil hindi ito pasok doon sa period na kino-cover ng cash advance. At the same time, ito rin ay mga activity na hindi supposedly pinagagastusan ng confidential funds. Pauline.
All right, thank you very much for that update. That was mobile journalist Mary Monreyes reporting. Now, before we go back to the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte, President Bongbong Marcos visits typhoon-affected communities in Las Piñas City. The president is first inspecting a drainage pump at the Alido Bridge in Barangay Zapote. The equipment is used to help drain flood waters in areas hit by heavy rains. Marcos is also set to visit a covered court in Barangay Pamplona 3, which is serving as an evacuation center for affected residents. And the visit comes as the government continues response and relief efforts amid the habagat. Join us again later at 1 p.m. for the very latest stories. I'm Pauline Verzosa. Kapatid, we are One News.